Okay, well, I guess we may as well get going here. Let me just have a quick sip. I see my drink's on the wrong side, that's always a bad start. And I do apologise if I end up muting the mic a few times. So, like that, while I'm coughing or that, because I'm still a little bit unwell, so... Well, I'm very happy to have you, Matt. I did do a showcase for GDQ last year, but the quality, unfortunately, was not what I would call optimal. I had some recording issues that day, unfortunately, due to Australian internet, so hopefully we can do something so far. But I'm glad you find me entertaining. That's very nice of you to say. Alrighty. I guess we'll get started. So, we actually want to start the game on easy here, because Orc generation is done as soon as I hit start game, and we want everything to generate on the easy. We will be switching difficulty during the game and abusing that, but for now we're going to start on easy. So let's get going in 3, 2, 1, go. Okie dokie. So, just in case this run goes anywhere, my name is Ryken Gaming AU. This is Middle-earth Shadow of War, and we are competing in the any percent category, which I'm currently the second place holder in. Straight off the bat, we're going to take an unintended direction here. This is meant to be the stealth tutorial of the game and learn the movement controls, but we're just going to run straight through it and blaze right down to the end. Okay, not too bad at all. Okay, so we're going to be entering Minas Ithil, which is the first part of the game. We're going to be here roughly for about the first 45 minutes of the game, outside of a couple of missions, but this will be our main hub for the first section.
Taking out the captain should buy the Gondorians some time.
And straight away we're going to start using some mechanics of the game.
We must find a worm and make him talk.
So we're going to interrogate a worm straight off the bat, and they give intel about orcs.
You're a grunt. Take the other.
Here we go, we intel this guy, and he will always give us information on the same captain. It doesn't matter where position they are on the ladder, this guy is always the same. This is one of the very few what we call known captains in the run. And what that means is we know all his weaknesses, we know all his strengths. For the most part, they're mainly randomized, but this is one of the very few ones that we actually know all the stats about. But before we find him, we have to go through the bow tutorial.
I thought he was dead. He is.
Alright, so we can't, unfortunately, as soon as it pops up, we have to wait half a second here. And I'm actually only pulling the bowstring back 3/4 of the way. We don't need a full charge to kill orcs in the head on easy.
Good for the Gondorians. We have to help.
One of the many reasons we do play on easy is because of that. We're going to speed through here. We're going to blow up this barrel early to skip a little cutscene animation. And then we're going to continue running through here. Now, for those who haven't seen this game before, the main thing we need to keep an eye on is in the bottom left of the game. We pretty much have all of our stats down there. The most important one being focus, which is the white bar just above our arrow count. That not only allows us to slow time when we pull out our bow, but it also is our sprint meter. So we're going to be having to manage that a lot in the early game, and that's really what the early game is about. So this guy is always weak to stealth, thankfully, so we'll wait half a second before attacking him, and his dazed by stealth condition will kick in. 4, 5, bow full, bow half. And let's see if we can get the skip. Oh, no, we did not get the skip, unfortunately. That's okay, though. So we can actually kind of interrupt that little pan over to Idril there by pulling in the sword at the right time, but we were not close enough for it. We're going to see our first glitch here. I'm going to let go of the controls for a second before initiating a sprint, and that actually nearly reduces the need of the cost of focus down to nothing. So it's a very nice little handy glitch that we have. Okay, we're going to go over here. These are really bad orc spawns today, but that's okay. We'll deal with what we have. I always love those orcs in SOW in general. Invested way more into the game's silly side than I really like. Oops, I missed some arrows there while I was focusing. That's alright, we'll just go with backup straps. Not an issue at all.
Stay and I'll give you a quick death. Not looking good. Doesn't look good for weeks.
Yeah, I love this game. That's why I started speedrunning it. I can invest so much time in this game just because it's so much fun. But I agree with you. Like you get so down the rabbit hole of collecting orcs. They're kind of like weird Pokemon to me. Like I just love collecting them. Granted, I don't have as much as some people in this game, but I still have quite a nice collection. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. Alright, so here we're pretty much going to have to wait for Idril anyway, so we're technically on an escort mission here and we can't get too far away from her, otherwise we do fail the mission. I'm going to slow down here for a second. So we can just wait for our focus to recharge naturally while we're waiting for her. She is awfully slow today. Normally she outpaces us without our sprint speed, but she is not. But anyway, we'll pick up these arrows. We'll start the fight here. And we'll be toggling our focus here to get some headshots hopefully. Unfortunately that was really bad shooting, but that is what it is. Smack into the pack here. Okay, that's all we need to do. And keep going. Yeah, I'd 100% collected all the legendaries. Yeah, I did that as well on my first playthrough. I went through, I collected everything I could, 100% of the game. I loved it. Alright, so here we're kind of just going to cut this corner, run into a cutscene, and Idril should just walk to us up here. Ground attack this guy, and then we're going to roll to interrupt this guy's attack here. We'll let our glaive, and now we're going to start killing. So we just unlocked the glaive then, and this is a weapon that we'll be using a lot during the run. It's not as heavily utilised by casual playthroughs from what I've been able to see. And we're also going to perform a glitch here. By draining this guy, we skip a cutscene that slows down the animation of the last orc dying. That wasn't too bad of a start. Nope, not M. We're going to take that point and keep going from there.
The city is weak and it will not hold for much
Apologies
longer.
about
Cannot leave the Gondorians to their
clearing my throat like that. Like I said, I'm a little bit under the weather still, so things will get better as I'm going on, hopefully.
Towers bear his mark.
Those were my towers once. Now Sauron's corruption spreads beyond
Okay.
the borders of Mordor.
So there are two types of cutscenes in this game. There are the cinematic cutscenes which you can skip, and cutscenes like this which use the in-game models which we can't actually skip. Technically we can crash the game which does skip those cutscenes. However, in every case, because they end up walking you to the nearest nearest Hadia that you've unlocked, which is the fast travel points in this game, and normally we don't want that, it turns out that skipping none of them is faster. For this instance, if we have no Hadia, like in this area, we would actually be walked to the start of the map. Hey, Spadella, how you going, buddy?
Purify them and make them ours.
May RNG being your favourite night. I hope so. That'd be a good night, wouldn't it? A couple of weeks before the showcase event for ASM and get another PB.
Built on the
That would be
ruins of
lovely.
my kingdom. Yet some things remain.
Alright.
Those are my
We're immediately going to head to the second mission in the game, get another one of our abilities, and this mission here actually gives us the most OP ability in the game. And it is so strong, in fact, that even if this wasn't a required mission, we would still go for it. 100%. There is no ifs or buts. This ability is so strong. It's called Elven Rage, and you'll see when we unlock why it is so strong. And there are actually a few glitches as well that go with it. So, let's head in. And here we're going to be looking for big juicy cleaves. We actually don't care in this mission if we kill our orcs or the enemy orcs. Obviously, our orcs, killing the enemy orcs is better because our orcs also build us Wrath, which is that blue bar on the right of my health bar now you can see in the bottom left. But essentially we're just looking for big juicy please. None of these are super juicy, but that will do. And this ability here is Golden Rage. It basically freezes time and allows us to dish out massive damage. And it is extremely glitchy, and we will be abusing that fact a few times throughout the game. Okay. So we're immediately going to fast travel back here, back to this Hadia, and we'll keep going. Oh, that's not great. Now I've buggered up all my angles. Ah, that's a real shame. But that's alright. Only a few seconds lost, but now we have to do this menu here. So this is the gem tutorial. We actually don't want to socket the gem we got from the last mission. We want to socket that in our armor, but unfortunately that costs money and we don't have enough yet. And the game does force us to unlock our sword slot there, so we don't really have a choice, unfortunately. I'm gonna fly over here. And we're going to keep going. Yeah, Casimir, that seems to be something I find a lot. That people sort of, at least when I've been watching a lot of casual playthroughs, the glaive especially has been forgotten about. And Elven Rage usually sits there for a long time with people not using it, but you can guarantee in the speedrun here we're going to abuse the living bejesus out of it. Oh, that was actually perfect. So I got all the orcs with that barrel in one shot. That's slightly lucky. And we're going to see our first weird little camera glitch here. So the game expects you to follow Idril, but the actual trigger point for the next part is to see this siege beast here. So the game's then going to upwarp us to the location you should have found by following Idril. And then we're going to continue from there. Saves around 4 seconds and looks really cool, so we absolutely do it.
Well, this should prove interesting.
So, oh, I'm a little bit off here. That's actually really bad. I should have been more to the left there, but that's okay. Thankfully, thanks to Elven Agility, we only lose a few seconds while climbing the building. And we're going to take this siege beast. And this is the first instance, one of many, where the game is actually breaking its own inbuilt rules. So we don't actually have this ability yet unlocked to be able to ride these beasts. But the game goes ahead and gives us the ability temporarily during this mission, just so it can show us the siege beasts and how they work. Okay, looking for one more juicy blast here, and hopefully that should get us done.
Leave the siege beast for the enemy.
Pity we can't take it with us.
And this is actually the only very rare occasion we will be using Elven Rage purely for one of its most unknown properties. It actually gives us more movement speed as well. So we're actually going to pop Elven Rage here to run fast. Normally we'd be using it purely for its damage output and a couple of glitches, but that is the one case where we actually use it for something other than that. And another thing you may note is I'm purposely jumping over boxes here, or little bits of debris. That will actually give me what we call a free boost, and running fast costs focus, like we mentioned before, but we can jump over little boxes to actually get a free boost. And it doesn't use focus and allows us to recharge focus while still going fast. Obviously it's slightly slower because you have to watch the animation of jumping over the boxes, but it is very, very useful still.
We must secure the Palantir.
Shoot about there, I reckon. That's probably a good shot there. That's not a bad shot at all. We're going to blow this. And if we get very, very lucky here with the orc spawns, we can actually get this all done in this shot here. But it does not look like we have enough orcs at all. Let's go over here. That should do it. So lots of little decisions we've got to make based on orc RNG, but that's alright. Still a pretty healthy first few missions there.
Another attack will surely follow. We should return to the upper city, check on Idril and the others.
Okay. And that's that mission. So now we're actually going to do our first skill up. So first things first, we're going to go in inventory and unlock this armor slot. And when we place a white gem in an armor slot, it gives us increased XP gain, which is really useful. We're also going to grab execution, which I will explain in a little bit, and the ability to teleport to fireplaces, which for a speedrun would be very, very good. And now we're going to move on to the second zone of the game. We're only going to do a couple of missions in here and then head back to the first zone. Personally, this is my favourite zone of the game, and this is Kirith, Ungol. And this is sort of the spot I nicknamed it Spider Town because it is Shalob's home, and it is like very like cave, webbed, overgrown, very, very cool aesthetics in this level. So the first thing we're going to do, even though there is a fast travel point right near here, is we're actually going to climb this building and get this Hadia. And it may seem counterintuitive since the fast travel point's very close, but we actually come back to this point a few times, and this actually gives us better angles for teleports and dashes and dives later on in the game. Right now our movement speed options are pretty limited, but as the game goes on we'll get more. So we're going to use that new ability to teleport to fireplaces like that, dash across, and now we can quickly talk about execution. So you can see just above my health bar there is now a little orange bar that's glowing. As we kill orcs and do damage to them, that bar will fill up, and when it fills up we can actually unleash it for a high damage single target ability. Later on we can use that bar for other things as well, but for now we'll do that. And I'm actually going to pop this cage open, and we're going to get an encounter window up. Now this encounter window is very important, but I'll explain why when we get to it. But seeing that Karagor saves us a lot of time. So this is the first of the O-logs that we're going to fight. This is a non-captain O-log, this is just a regular O-log, and they are very tanky. Thankfully we can just take them down with 4 arrows to the head, followed by 2 to 3 slashes depending on the HP they spawn with. Now going to get introduced to Golem. And I'm sure if you haven't already wondered why I'm playing on English, English is not actually the fastest language for this game. French is, and French is on average at least 2.4 seconds faster, but it can be upwards of 30 seconds to 1 minute faster. Oh, I did not do that right at all. That's okay. We are just going to have to be...
The assassin must be stopped.
My focus is a little lower than I'd like.
You know where to find him?
Why it's weird is because cutscenes are always the same. In-game cutscenes are always the same speed. The only thing that changes with the French language is random encounters when we get orcs opening lines. So when we see orc captains later on, some of them will give us out their opening lines, and on average French is faster by 0.8 seconds. But we're not playing on that because French has some really bad audio quality issues. I put up with it normally when I'm streaming, but for showcase runs I'm definitely not going to be putting that up at all. And here we just have to wait a few seconds for Golem. Technically this is another escort mission, and if we get too far away from Golem, he will stop escorting us to catch up to us, which is really weird. But and then we have to run back with him to get to his escort location. So we just take it a little slower through there, just to make sure that Golem stays on his right pathing, because he's the actual trigger to spawn these orcs in that we can interact with.
Kill happened more recently than
We are getting closer.
Alright.
Golem should know where
So again, we're just going to do a slight bit of waiting. In a speedrun, we just, because it's early enough, we just end up pushing it here, but and hoping Golem plays ball with us. But again, for exhibition, we'll just play tiny bit safe and just wait half a second. And we know we did it right when this patrol spawns. We use our Elven Rage to kill these guys nice and quick. Once these guys fall, we'll use the rest of Elven Rage, the increased speed, to get around this corner. And if we did everything right, the assassin menu should pop up right now. There we go. Brilliant. So, all working good.
Get this one still.
So, this is sort of like another tutorial where it's going to teach us about weaknesses. This is another captain where we know some of his abilities. So we call these ones semi-known. So we know this guy is going to be weak to Morgai flies, but everything else, his weaknesses, his strengths, his HP, everything else is all random. We have no idea what the rest of his stats are. All we know is that he's going to be weak to Morgai flies. So we're going to use that fact right here to stealth open him, now that we've dazed him with the flies. We're then going to execute him. We're then going to pull out our bow, do a full shot, and then pull out our bow again. Oh, no, we're going to sword slash because I hit the wrong button, but that's almost as fast. And there he is there. So, we're now going to travel back to that Hadia, and we're going to see part of the reason why we captured that Hadia straight away. We're going to come over here, drop down this ledge, and we'll be in range to spawn this campfire, which then lets us go much faster than coming to the world's edge.
This is a perfect opportunity to sow chaos within Sauron's ranks. The assassin had one more target on his list. We should finish what we started and kill the War Chief's final bodyguard.
Interesting, I didn't have a Grog encounter yet. Okay, so we're going to head into the next mission. This is all a bunch of pretty decently disguised tutorial missions.
You can't have run out of orcs in this city.
So we actually spend about an hour and a half of this run.
But we're hunting one in particular.
Sorry.
The last bodyguard of the war chief leading the siege.
We actually spend about an hour and a half of this run in tutorial, but we just don't know it because they kind of spread it out.
The same orc.
That is a terrible name for an orc, by the way.
You sound like you've had some experience.
So, here, we're thankfully going to do the last of these puzzles. I hate these puzzles so much. This way and that. Okay. Uncommon pattern, that one, but that's okay. And now, before I freed a Caragor and said I got an encounter window up, and I wanted to sort of explain why now, because now is the reason. When you first get an encounter window, we know this captain will have a Caragor, and when you first get an encounter window, they actually spin to look at you. And what happens is, when they spin, we're not able to actually get a stealth attack on this guy here. So we want a stealth attack, A, in case he's vulnerable to stealth, and B, because they do tons of damage. And now, the way I'm fighting this guy is actually very particular. I'm keeping him stun locked the entire time. As you can see, he doesn't really have a chance to talk to me or respond to me. And that's the reason is that all orcs have an opening line. Ooh, that was a fault of mine. He's a tank. So that was my fault for not killing him with a bow or a glaive, but I'll explain that in a moment. So all orcs have an opening and closing line. We're still yet to actually get this orc's opening line, and we're trying to keep them stun locked. And the opening lines and the closing lines are actually what give us the variance in which audio is actually best, French, English, yada yada yada. However, we have lots of tips and tricks to keep them stun locked. So in theory, we should never get an orc's opening line. However, we're probably going to get a few during the run just because of the nature of how orcs interact and whether or not we hit their weaknesses or their strengths. Because if we hit their strengths, we'll automatically trigger. So a good example of a strength is them being arrow proof and us shooting an arrow at them.
We have to kill them all.
Okay, so here I'm blowing up this barrel just to get a little more Elven Rage. For a later trick. And then we're going to continue running here. I'm going to try to get this boost off these rocks. Got it. That's great. That saves me a ton of boost later on. And now we can just sprint through this cave. Unworried at all. Okay. And head into this next mission. Now I will say here that there is actually a faster route for this mission than the one I'm going to currently be performing. However, I don't have the time to learn the route before ASM, so I'm going to basically use this route and just explain it. There is about a 10-second faster route that the world record holder has come up with, which I will learn after ASM.
I won't turn down an extra sword.
And we shall take him down together. I'll take out his archers first.
So, this is the first example in a game of a good stealth mission. There are a bunch of different stealth missions, some of them good, some of them bad. This is my pick for one of the best stealth missions in the game. All we have to do is get through this area, be stealthy, and not set off the alarm, which is actually relatively easy on easy. Alright, now we hope for good RNG. Didn't get good RNG, but that's okay.
Otherwise, we'll be dodging friendly
So good RNG there would have been that explosion took out another archer. That's okay, we have plenty of other opportunities to... Oh! Why did you not die from that?
an archer would be worth 3 Gondorian archers.
Okay, so I have no spare arrows at all here, which is not great, but it is what it is. We have to make sure we make all of our shots count. Got that archer. Grab these extra arrows.
This is not their home.
Come here. Have Carabrimbor take care of that guy. And then we pray, since we got bad RNG with the explosion, we pray that this guy's in the right location. That's fine. I love how SOG run has so much RNG. Yet there's still people who love it enough to speedrun anyway. I don't think I would be running this game if there wasn't RNG, to be honest. Also, shoutouts to the humans who are the worst stealth hiders ever. And I have no idea how the orcs haven't seen them standing up there, but... but yeah, personally, I love the RNG in this game. It keeps it fresh because there's no one correct way to do anything. You've got to constantly think on your feet. Speaking of constantly thinking on your feet, I've got to blow this up for the rage, quickly go into my character, grab the ability to pin orcs, and grab the ability to ride Caragors, turn my camera and try to land directly on these boxes as I jump down. A little bit rough, but that's okay. Pull out my bow and shoot this guy in the foot. We now have the ability to pin orcs, and that's what I did there. I essentially shot him in the foot, which pins him. Unfortunately, it looks like it's enraged him. He's enraged by pinning. He is. That's bad RNG. Nothing we can do to prevent it, though.
Time to bleed, man.
And those are the opening lines we talked about before, so that's one of the possibilities of opening lines.
Show me who's worthy.
And now we do have an execution available up, you can see by the orange, but we cannot do an execution on this guy unless we have him stunned, because again, he's going to introduce an opening line if we try. So we always stun first before executing in this way. Okay, since we're out of arrows, we're actually going to try to finish this guy with our glaive. Never mind, Baranor killed him, and we were going to finish him with the glaive just to avoid any other shenanigans. But I did not see what he dropped, unfortunately. So we'll quickly check on the map. There is a sword in there. I do want the sword, actually.
Too easily.
I cannot ignore what she
Grab that sword. That'll be an upgrade for us. Make sure we haven't got any gems. No, that's fine. And we'll keep going. So again, RNG, just depending on what drops we get, whether or not we get things that's useful. Swords are obviously very useful for playing out damage. But the run doesn't actually need any drops to complete. Obviously, there are drops that would make this much easier. Come on, guys, you're in my way of the fireplace.
From the beginning, Sauron was a creature built for war.
And we're just going to quickly kill this treasure orc, as he might have a useful gem. He does have a useful gem. That is really, really good. And AJ2144, thank you very much for the follow, mate. Welcome to the stream. And Gannis! Oh my golly gosh, for those who are not aware, Gannis Ultima was the original world record holder for this game. He was my inspiration for wanting to get into this game, and it is very good to see you, my friend. How you going? It's been a long while. I hope things are well. I'm doing pretty well. I'm a little bit under the weather at the moment, but nothing too bad to complain about, so... Alright, so fun strat here. We're going to go to the right of the bushes. We're going to pull out our bow, and we're immediately going to shoot this guy. Even though we're meant to be sneaking and not raising the alarm, shooting him from that distance won't raise the alarm. And what it will actually do is it will stop him from walking through the area talking to orcs, and instead make him run directly to the objective, saving us around 45 seconds. So we're going to run this way, come up here, and we actually have pretty tight timing because of this, but we've got a pretty good path through here. We're going to summon our bodyguards, and we're going to tell them to kill a bunch of these enemies that are around. And essentially we're just clearing the block here. And now we're actually going to tell these guys to go away. And we're going to get in... Oh, this guy should not be here. And we're going to get into position here. And we're actually going to change the difficulty. Now, originally we were kind of planning to make this a main strategy to run on Brutal, but thankfully some strategies have been were found to prevent that.
The Gravewalker is here.
It's hilarious how many time saves in this game involve shooting things that weren't meant to be shot. Yeah, absolutely. So, what I'm going to do here, since we're on Brutal now, the enemy's damage and health has gone up, but so has our damage. And Elven Rage actually incorrectly calculates its damage, and it does so much more damage than it should do on Brutal. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to activate it while not even close to the enemy. And this is all to avoid their opening lines, by the way. We're going to activate Elven Rage as soon as we gain control. We're going to run up here. We're going to hit the execute, which we can do while in Elven Rage without triggering a line, because it effectively counts as stun. We're going to hit the execute again. And unfortunately we got bad RNG. So his health was higher than it should have been, and we didn't get him with 2 executes. So we do actually have to listen to his opening line. We're going to use our final execute to break him, and then we're going to try to do this without getting interrupted. It was very, very close to being interrupted. Okay, so that was a little bit sloppy. Unfortunately, we did get his opening line, which we do try to avoid with the Brutal strategy, but it doesn't always work. And Gannis, when are you coming back to running this beautiful game? I've missed watching your streams, to be honest. I've missed watching a lot of people's streams for this game, so I'd love you to come back, my friend. Alrighty. So that's our mission complete. We're going to guarantee get a legendary cloak here, but we're in actual combat. Interesting. So, unfortunately, because we're on Brutal, we get 2 shot by the Caragor. The Caragor is meant to die because the game, basically the mission ended, but it didn't. Anyway, let's go into our inventory. We're going to do the rare gear tutorial. We're also going to go into our character. We're going to grab Grog Rider, and we're going to grab Core Mount. And then we're going to go into our quest line. We're going to come back here, and we're going to fast travel. Fast travel is still not available. Why not, game? Why don't you want me to... Oh, you're still alive. You've been too busy playing World of Warcraft? Fair enough. The game's going to force us to do this tutorial again. We're losing a bunch of time. Thank you, game. But that's okay. Not the end of the world when the game decides to make us lose time. I too have been playing quite a bit of Classic, to be fair, in my off time. Driving my wife a little bit insane, but been fun. Okay. So now we're going to head to the arena, which actually, right now, in 2021, we have a disadvantage over 2020 version of me. So, the arena actually involves a slaughter of 4 different Orc captains, with the final Orc captain being... You could actually bring your nemesis from the first game, Shadow of Mordor, into the game. However, in 2021, Monolith had to end up turning off the Shadow of Mordor online servers. And with that, it meant that you could no longer bring your character over. We as a community made a decision to get rid of our old nemesis, as it would not be fair to new runners. Who would not have the same advantage as us, because we could basically handpick our nemesis. Oh, he's arrow-proof. So, for those wondering why I was able to pummel him with arrows beforehand while he was arrow-proof, he was basically, while he's dazed, he loses his immunities. Yeah, and so the Nemesis Forge is gone, so the few of us that did actually go through and make a proper Nemesis and make a really, really good one for this scenario, we lost it, but the time loss is only about 25 seconds, to be perfectly honest. It's not like the biggest loss in the world. But it feels weird to look back at my old videos and know that I had a drunk Nemesis. So he was drunk, so he didn't give me any lines. He was afraid of Caragors, and he was weak to arrows, which was perfect for this scenario.
Should I dance for them?
Alright, so here we're actually going to try to get a stealth attack on this guy. We did not get it, unfortunately, because the game did not recognise I wanted a stealth attack, but that's okay. And again, we're going to be using the same arrow weave combo we did from last time. We're literally going to be pulling the arrow up, hitting him, going for the stun. Oh, he's got a Vault Breaker trait, that's fine. And now we're actually, because we're out of arrows, we're actually going to use our glaive to finish him, because that will not trigger an orc's closing line if they have one. We're then going to go over here, grab some arrows, go into stealth, and try to stealth this guy. And we were actually able to stealth him, as you can tell by the huge damage we did to his body. Going to use the glaive again to finish him. And if we have time, we're going to pop this cage open.
I don't know what this man swine's on about.
Alright, he's really close to me.
And here I am.
I'm going to pull out my bow, and I'm going to pit him. So, this is going to be our first use of a major glitch in this game, if I'm able to actually pull it off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up my might on a caragor, which the easiest way is just to run orcs down. Unfortunately, because he was enraged by my pinning shot, I could not stop him from giving us his opening line, which is this line.
A long way from here. But this is the place you've chosen to meet your end.
And this is why we would like a Nemesis Forge, because this would normally be our Nemesis, but fortunately we can't use it, but that's okay. We're going to grab our might up to full, and then we're going to run over him and press a button combination at the same time and kill him instantly. And we call that the Caragor Donk. It's called the Caragor Donk because the other speedrunners let me nickname it. Let me come up with a name for it, and they were silly, so I called it the Caragor Donk because it reminds me of the old Batman TV shows with the pow and the donk and the really like over the top. It just looks ridiculous after a while of seeing it. So, and that is going to be our main. We have 3 insta-kills in this game, so we call them insta-kills abilities on captains, and we have 1 insta-kill on Nazgul, which we'll see a little later in the run. And that will be the main source of basically skipping the entire fights with captains. Luckily, those insta-kills don't always work on all the captains. There are a bunch of captains which are immune to all the different insta-kills we have. So we may end up still having to fight a couple the normal way. Ologs, technically, the larger captains, they technically have a lot more immunities. And now I said before, that Rain of Arrows was my favourite stealth mission. This is meant to also be a stealth mission, but this is one of those classics stealth missions you see from games where stealth is optional. And we're just going to come in here with a bunch of explosions and blow everything up while being as loud as possible, because it's quick. So we're just going to use, again, our teleport to campfires trick. We're going to free these guards. You'll also see me killing a bunch of orcs as I'm going through. And that is actually because after we free the guards, the next objective is to clear the camp. What's the speed record for this run? It is on the screen right now. Actually, I believe I have it on my screen still. Let me look in a second once I'm in a better position. Yes, it is right at the bottom. The world record without loads. So we run without loads, so it's fair for everyone. And the world record is 2 hours and 31 minutes without loads. Come on, please interact with this object.
We must leave this foul place.
So I'm essentially telling Idril to kill these orcs by labelling them with the red there.
Come on.
And we're going from there. Stab this guy, grab these arrows, and we hope that Idril's either going to come and help us free these orcs, or nope, she's fighting a bunch of orcs on her own. Thankfully, again, this is on easy, so she can pretty much handle herself. And we're going to free this final guy if it will let us. No, you're never a distraction, mate. You are welcome to ask as many questions as you want. So we're actually going to clean these up. I'm going to summon my Caragor. Yeah, please feel free to ask as many questions. You're not distracting at all. If I need to focus at all, I simply won't look at chat. So, if I'm looking at chat, you're not distracting me. Alrighty. So, this is meant to be an escort mission, but thankfully once we get to the top of this bridge, the actual only objective here is to kill the guys on the bridge. So we're going to leave our Caragor behind, blow up this conveniently placed campfire, come over here, and if we've got our timings right, we'll hit that guy over there with our campfire, we did, and we can just scoot on to the end. And that's the whole mission. I love how smooth this mission is. Now, it's getting very, very smooth. But you did see me struggle to free the guards a couple of times, and it is something I'll bring up later in the run, but because this game, I believe, was originally a console game that was then ported onto PC, there are a lot of buttons that are the same. And so we can't unbind them, unfortunately. The same button for multiple interactions. Okay. So this is like a 2-minute survival section. Thankfully, we're not just standing here for 2 minutes. We've actually got a few things we need to do. The most important thing is we need to build our Elven range. Because we're going to be fighting Nazgul at the end of this section, and we need to have that up to even have a chance of getting the insta-kill glitch on Nazgul. So once we have Elven Rage, we'll block that. One more swing should do it. Oh, that was nasty from that guy. There it is there. Our second objective now is to make sure that we see this dragon to get the encounter window up. Our third thing is to try to execute the dragon because it has a chance to drop a tier 2 gem. Using our execute does stop the timer up the top, so we do lose a little bit of time, but it is worth it if the dragon drops a good tier 2 gem. It dropped a white gem, and that's actually not bad at all. And we're going to unlock our armor slot here, and that's another 10% total XP, so that's pretty good. And our final objective before the 2 minutes is up is to grab our Caragor and make sure it has full might. And again, we do this just by sprinting and running over orcs. You can see the orange bar building up. And now that we have that, we have about a minute to spare. So if you've got more questions, this is absolutely the time, because the only other thing I've got to show you is how cute Caragors look while standing on a little ledge like this. We're actually standing back here because we're running on easy. Every time an orc takes a swing at us, there is a very tiny amount of delay to help you parry on easy. And that delay does actually slow the timer down. So we stand back here. The orcs won't actually cross. There's an invisible line here where those boxes are in front of us. And the orcs won't actually cross that. So we can just sit here and do nothing and be heroically defending the gate from here. On higher difficulties, obviously, Baranor cannot handle this on his own, and you need to help him, but on low difficulties, Baranor's fine. And the orcs won't really ever care that we're up here, as we're essentially past their aggro radius, even though 3 of them are locked onto us by the little arrows you can see above their head. Okay, so when the reinforcements come, we're also going to spawn in a captain. We're going to use our Elven sight here to line this up. We're going to... Unfortunately, that stopped us a little bit. Yeah, that was unfortunate. So, because we had to parry there, we weren't able to get into position to avoid this line. But that's okay. And we're going to use the Caragor Donk to instantly kill him as well. Is it possible for a console player to have a good speedrun? It absolutely is. We do have a separate category for consoles just because they don't have access to all the tools that we do. But now I'm going to attempt to insta-kill a Nazgul. It is actually really difficult to insta-kill a Nazgul here. It is not consistent at all, unfortunately. It involves the way this game treats heights. And we did not get it, but that's okay. It is not a consistent strat at all, and we don't actually rely on it for runs, but it's sort of a nice to have if we get it. So as soon as we break Nazgul, we can press F and kill him. And yeah, there is absolutely console players who do have runs of their own. But yeah, we don't compare them to the PC runs. A, because PC obviously have a few advantages outside of loads. Please stop attacking me. And we have the load remover, of course. We have faster loads. We also have access to keyboard and mouse, which mouse especially for aiming the bow is just very strong. But I believe the console records are around 4 hours, but it is not very optimized. So if you do want to take a shot at this record, console would definitely be one of the easier records to go for, as we don't have many console runners. But essentially the game runs the same. The Caragor Donk, all of the glitches we use are 100% possible on the console, with only the high ground really being a little bit trickier on the console. But as that is the least used glitch in the game, you should be fine. Okay. So we're just essentially cleaning up the Nazgul here. Ideally, we'd like to focus them down one at a time if we can. Oh, please get off that. And now we've just got one more Nazgul to fight. And the speed of this fight really dictates on whether or not we've got a red gem, which we do, and whether or not we've got a one sword upgrade from the base, which we also do. So this is a relatively fast fight. Also, if we're able to pull off the high ground glitch, which we weren't, it could have been faster. So, we're now finally going to exit what I call the big tutorial, and we're going to get the little tutorial. And yes, I was originally a controller player, for your reference, AJ. I did all my speedruns with a controller. And Ganna's finally swang me around to the side of keyboard and mouse, and yeah, it is absolutely superior to controller, unfortunately, except for in one part, which is like 3 hours into the run and you don't actually need it. It doesn't lose you any time not having a controller, but it just guarantees you're going to get the best rotation from something. But outside of that, a controller is not that good, unfortunately. You actually tried the high ground glitch on console the other day. Lots of fun. Awesome. It is a very interesting little glitch, isn't it? It's such a cool little glitch, but it's very, very interesting. So there we don't have a split timer because I've recently added a split there for just end of Act 1. That's more of a reference for me. And before I talked about the good stealth missions in this game, this one unfortunately is the worst stealth mission in the game. So what's happened story-wise is we've now got our Ring of Power back, which would actually be on this hand in the Lord of the Rings universe. Sorry, it would be on my left hand actually. And we now need to start building an army, and the game's going to teach us about building an army. The problem is that the button for dominate orcs, aka bring them onto our side, is also the same button for throwing myself off the edge in front of them. And if you look up the top, it actually says find 10 archers without being detected, rather than without setting an alarm. And if they see me at all, aka if I go too fast and the game doesn't recognise I want to dominate and instead throws me off the edge in front of them, it is this mission fail and we have to do the whole thing again.
A fine addition to our army.
However, the absolute banger is whenever you keep your strike combo in a fight, that increased damage against Nazgul is so good. Yeah, I need to get better at that. You are 100% right there. That is something I fail at constantly with Nazgul. My weakness is long extended combat. I've always said that in the game. Whoop, I nearly got detected there. I had a half a second of notice there.
And then it will give us more door.
Alright, we're going to grab this guy and immediately pull out our bow. We're going to shoot this explosive. We're going to tell our orcs to kill these guys down here, and then we're going to do it ourselves. Now we're going to assume our archers have this. We really hope they do. However, oh my golly gosh, what just happened there? I have never seen this many orcs come out here before. this is an absolute disaster. But okay, we're just going to have to kill all of these orcs. That's okay. It is what it is. So this was a huge mistake. This is the worst mission in the game, and unfortunately, I don't know why they all followed me out there. They don't normally do that, but it happens. All good. We'll head up here, and we'll try to at least get to the mission part. Oh, another red gem, but we're not going to use that. So now we're going to level up again. We're going to go into our character. We're going to grab Brace of Daggers. Absolutely useless ability, but we need it to get to Elven Light, which is one of the strongest abilities in the game. So I said before we would get some other spenders for our might bar, the orange bar at the top of our health bar. We now have that. We now have the ability to cast AoE fire instead of doing large single target damage. We can do huge AoE damage. I'm so glad this game gave you the ability to dominate orcs earlier. Never understood why they did it so late in the first one. I think for the first one they were going, personally, I mean I don't know, but personally I feel like they were going for like an Assassin's Creed-y kind of vibe, and the domination was like a secondary thing. Okay, so we're going to shoot this here for Elven Rage. We're going to blow that up for Elven Rage again. We're going to jump in here. Again, Bruise is one of the few orcs where we know all of his stats, so there's no point going for a stealth attack on him as he's immune to stealth. And now we're going to beat the living bejesus out of Bruise. So this is his opening line, and again, this is another instance of the game breaking its own rules. To dominate an orc captain, we need to be their level or higher. We are obviously not, but the game will still let us actually dominate Bruise as part of this mission, as he's a storyline orc. We're actually going to hit that spearman there because he's getting really annoying. I actually need to finish the rest of these orcs quickly. I'm not going to use that. I'm actually going to save that. I'm going to shoot this open, come in here, and the melee orcs can't actually reach me in here. So we're going to dominate orc Bruise from here, and no one's going to interrupt us except for range, which we killed them all already. And that was relatively smooth for a Bruise fight. Could have been better, but could have been worse. The main thing is we kept our might, which means that we can do some interesting tactics on the next split. Alright. Go through the menu and on to Carnum's
enemy power is important. But what is most crucial for conquest is strengthening our own
hate when
forces.
Bruise betrayed the player when it happens. Look, I don't blame him. To be perfectly honest, after playing this game long enough, Talion treats him like... Talion and Celebrimbor treat him so badly. I don't blame him. I mean, in my first playthrough, I tried for so long to give him the fort. And when I couldn't, I actually tried to Google it. But anyway, let's focus on this mission. So this mission is one of these side missions that we have to do. We essentially have to get the world into a certain state to get to the end of the game. We need to do a certain amount of Carnage missions, we need to escalate Bruise's storyline a certain way, we need to do a bunch of missions for Atariel, and do a bunch of missions for the humans. So right now we're just sort of weaving the missions in between wherever it's best, and in this case it's going to be the Carnage mission next. And if we ever get lost in this forest, you can just turn on your Elven sight and you're able to see exactly where you need to go. Oh, on the wrong side. To be honest, Ratbag Bruise any day. Yeah. I don't mind Ratbag at all. He doesn't have a big interaction in this game, unfortunately, especially not in the speedrun, but I think he should have had a bigger part than just be part of Bruise's storyline. Okay, so this is Carnan's fight. This used to be utter terribleness. Till someone in the chat, actually, Gannis Ultima, decided to reroute our fight here. And it went from one of the hardest missions early to one of the easiest. So the biggest problem was the next fight coming up. This Grog used to take us around a minute to a minute and a half to fight. And they are very hard to fight early when you have no skills. But since we saved our Elven Rage, we can do this. We can instantly kill him. And because we can't turn Elven Rage off early, it actually allows us to get in a perfect position to line ourselves up for the final Beast of Canaan. So it's going to be a dragon, and dragons can only be shot down in the air when they actually have their mouth open. Thankfully, to intimidate us, this dragon does a huge poison breath here, and for a few frames it's going to have its mouth open, and we can just shoot it with a donkey shot arrow, which is a no charge arrow, immediately kill it with the execute, and that is the entire encounter over. That used to be such a hard thing until, as I said, Gannis Ultima, he figured out how to get Elven Rage into this area through routing, through a slight route change, and it became one of the easiest things we've ever done. But we are now on.
It seems this
Elven Rage is so OP, it's great, isn't it? But unfortunately, we are now on to the worst split in the game. The absolute worst split in the game. I'm actually going to go do a quick inventory check here. Got a new bow, cool. Don't care about the rest, that's fine. So, how this works is we need to take 3 captains to our side to advance the story. Both of these only have 2. Alright, we'll go for you. However, as I mentioned before, domination only works when a captain is your level or lower. This zone has the potential to spawn captains as low as level 10 and as high as level 36. And as you can see in the bottom left, we are only level 12. So we have to get very lucky and find a bunch of captains that are our level, or we have to fight a bunch of high level captains and use a mechanic called Shame to bring them down to our level and then go and fight them again. So both in my PB and the world record, we were lucky enough to find captains early on that were low level. But essentially it just comes down to a bit of RNG. And this would be the reset point of the run if I was doing resets. My Karagor has not abandoned me, that's great. But thankfully we have some glitches to help us out. So the very first thing I'm actually going to do, which I forgot to do while I was doing this, is I'm going to deselect the domination rune. And this is actually a relatively new glitch that it was known in the community for a while, but we didn't know it as speedrunners until very recently. And hopefully I'm going to be able to demonstrate what removing that rune does, because it's really interesting in terms of helping us speed up captures of captains. But what we're going to do... Yes, removing the leveling feature did break this split, I will agree. That would have been so interesting to have that still as a thing. But unfortunately it's broken.
This war chief believes he has
so this is a random mission that the game gives us to lure out the war chief in his fort. Thankfully this one isn't too bad at all. In fact, I'm going to make this even quicker and I'm just going to get my Karagor out. There you are. Because Karagors can move fastest in the game. They are in fact one of our fastest modes of transport. And this one we just have to run to an area and trigger a trap for the war chief to come out and fight us. Nothing too sinister at all. Up you go, please, Karagor. Oh. Keep saying how Karagors love to climb and then they just don't want to climb there. Alright, this should be enough to trigger the trap. Okay, so we have a chance to do this glitch, which is really, really cool. I really hope I get to show this off, because it's quite a cool glitch, but we have a few opportunities to do it, thankfully. The very first thing we need to do is we need to get rid of our Karagor. We need to also make sure that... unfortunately, Snafu knows where we are, so we cannot do this glitch. You can see by the little red arrow he has there. So, had I managed to pull off this glitch, if he didn't know where I was, we could essentially land on his back and instantly terrify him, which makes him flee. But instead, we're actually going to have to fight him via the normal methods. Oh, we already know he's arrow-proof, there's no point doing that. So instead, we're just going to fight him a bunch of times. Thankfully, because we're on easy, this captain won't get used to our abilities very quick. And we can just do a quick drain here. So what we're going to do is we're going to shame him, which will bring him down to our level most of the time. There is an exception to that, but he did not get the exception, which is great. So that's one of his minions, and there's the other one. We're probably only going to be able to get one of them. Yeah, but when their leader is taken or flees, then they go terrified, and we can instantly catch up to them and shame them as well. Again, I'm watching along the bar to see if they go legendary. If they go legendary, they're actually useless to us for this part. Nope, it didn't go legendary, so that's fine. And thankfully, we've got the last one here who's still terrified, so we're going to grab him as well, shame him down, and now we need to go and hunt these captains individually. As long as this guy, again, doesn't go legendary, which does have a chance to happen. He did go legendary, so that's really bad. So he's actually not on the board for us to take anymore. That guy's pretty close. That guy's far away. And that guy's our other one. Alright, so we're going to go for this one here. He's our closest. Now, the reason why we're not going for the legendary one is because when he transforms into a legendary orc, he will actually gain some levels again. Now, I'm actually going to use a glitch here to fast travel. No, we need this skin. So by switching skins here, the game will automatically pick us up, even though we normally can't fast travel in a mission, and allow us to fast travel. And where did it fast travel? Oh, it fast traveled us to here. That's actually really, really good, because this guy is only 500 feet away. So we only currently have 2 known orcs that we can take. So we need to still find another orc that's not the legendary one. So I'm going to be constantly toggling Elven sight off and on while I'm running through here, just in case there's another world, because some of these captains can just spawn in the world. Alright. So this one's got a little bit of a cutscene search clue thing before we can find where he is.
Must be near. I can almost hear the brutes arguing over what to pilfer.
Where are you, my friend? Are you this way? Are you that way? I'm gonna guess you're this way. There he is there. Okay. So, we're going to try to attempt that glitch that I talked about before. As long as he doesn't see us here. Hey, he saw us there. We couldn't get up here in time.
You used your
That's okay.
elf magic on me. You ruined
Hey, Trip DM, how you going, buddy?
I will not let
And
this
yeah,
go.
Frost is so
For
much fun in
nonsense.
Jules, I will agree. Alright, so we're actually going to be pretty careful with him here. We are going to set him on fire, because we're immediately going to put him out by game. Unfortunately, he's right near a wall, which does cause the game's targeting to go a little bit funny. And even though I'm trying to target him, we're going to get rid of that trap quickly. Even though I am trying to target him here, the game is not allowing me. Now, I'm not going to execute him here, because we want to actually take him as our orc. And an execution could actually kill him here. So we're just going to play this a little bit safe. We're going to back off here. We're going to allow him to be broken, and we're just going to fight his orcs and build up our might bar. As we have the ability now to convert our might into an instant brand. And we're going to do that here. Yes, very careful with arson. We'll use a little bit of arson, but not too much. Okay, so that's our first orc that we've now captured. We need 3 more orcs to essentially beat this section. We cannot... I'm going to go for him regardless. We are going to have to shame him. Oh, no, we leveled, so hopefully we shouldn't have to shame him actually now. So that is actually really good. He was relatively close by. Oh, we want to take the shortcut over here.
How you going,
Oh,
boss?
cool.
Well, so you're expanding already.
The run's not doing too bad, Trip. So,
He's make that bloke your bodyguard.
you know, it's not by any means a brilliant run. This section is obviously not going well, but it's not the worst thing in the world so far.
If it ever got to the point where I needed a hand on the
But
battlefield,
for everyone wondering what I'm doing right now, this is one of the 3 mandatory speeches that Bruce has to give us before we can progress. So this is Bruce teaching us about how captains work and what the different things we can do with captains is. So in this instance, we're going to make this captain our bodyguard so we can summon him at any point we want to. We're also going to grab our Caravelle here, because this is a long run and we want to go fast. And then we also Bruce has to tell us what else we can do with captains. But unfortunately, we need to capture 3 individual captains to make that work. Alright, so where is this guy sitting? He's on the bridge. So we are going to try the glitch. It is very, very annoying to pull off from this angle, but we're definitely going to try it. Give me the right angle. There it is there. Am I on his back? I think I landed on his back. And there you are. He's instantly terrified. So we can instantly take him and we don't have to do the fight at all. Now, the way that works, this is relatively new for everyone wondering, by the way. The way that works is that because we don't have the rune on, that allows us to take orcs, the game considers us in the early game, and that is how the game treats the orcs in the first section when you don't have this rune. Okay, so this guy is also very nearby. So essentially by unequipping the brand rune we can do that, but you have to stealth drain an orc without them knowing you're there and land on their back, and they have to not have a shield for that all to work. So there's a lot of conditions for that to work, but when it does work, it takes out a lot of the RNG in this section. Again, this is Bruce giving us our second lecture now. He is telling us exactly what we need to do the second time round.
And that'll free you up to gut somebody else at the same time.
Excuse me, sorry, still not 100% here, but I'm going to try to push on, see how I'm going. If I'm feeling well enough, go back to work, so it'll all be good.
Proper music, that is.
So this is the second thing we can do with captains, is we can send captains to fight other captains. So essentially we can go, hey, can you go ambush this guy? That'll be really handy, and he'll show up at the fight. We don't actually want them to ambush ones that we want, because we don't want to run the risk of losing them and then having to recruit more again. And unfortunately, oh, this guy's actually in an execution. That's interesting.
You do not touch me.
He is. So for some reason this little guy's managed to capture this big guy, but he's essentially executing him.
I'll be snapping necks. You there!
Oh, and he got ambushed. Which is even funnier because it's an ambush on an ambush on an execute, and I'm ambushing as well. But yeah, so now we have to basically gonna have to fight 3 captains at once here, and we're gonna have to try to take our captain and get out of here. So this will be a little bit of a mess, to be honest. This is gonna be a little bit of a mishmash. Now normally an execute target would also have low health and be broken already, but unfortunately because the ambush trigger happened, the guy never lost his low health meter. I actually need to be really careful here. No, that's not the one I wanted to brand, game. I wanted to brand that one. Oh well. Should be right here. Oh good. We got our third guy. We're going to tell him to retreat. And we can now run away like the big cowards we are.
Understood.
So once again, we're going to use the fast travel glitch here. We're going to switch our costume, which the game goes, hey, you just switched your skin, you need to be pulled to a waypoint, and then we're also going to then fast travel to this waypoint here. Now I did mention before that Caragor riding is the fastest mode of transport, and if you're wondering why I'm not running to the next objective with a Caragor, is that simple fact that Bruce won't talk to us while we're on a Caragor. And we need this final discussion here to actually get unlock the next mission. And so that is the hardest split in this game, and that is the reset point for a lot of runs. So we did it pretty well actually. It wasn't ideal, but it was good enough that I'm happy with it. I would be happy to press on in a normal run with this level of RNG, basically.
So it all works out. Go on, have a go.
And this is the last thing we can do with captains here. We can tell them, hey, go invade that war chief and be his bodyguard. But again, we used to do that in the mission, but nowadays we just go fast and don't worry about it. It used to be a viable strategy back in the day, as it used to do a certain percentage of the war chief's HP when the traitor was revealed. However, we don't need it anymore thanks to the Caragor Donk and the other insta-kill methods we have. Alright. So we're quickly going to go, hey, you need to come with us as well. And we're just going to start this mission. Now, we've actually killed one of the 2 war chiefs that was meant to be guarding this faction. So A, we've lowered the difficulty of this entire fort. We've removed one of their defensive mechanics, and it also means that the first section we need to capture... Excuse me, sorry. It also means that the first section we need to capture is going to be unguarded, essentially. So we can walk straight in. I also needed to split there, but that's okay.
My black speech is a little rusty. Actually, I don't know a single word. Language is a pain in the ass, but to hazard a guess, he said, you're all gonna die horribly. My kind of bloke.
Which is really naughty of me.
I will handle the Overlord. You focus on the defenders.
There we go.
Define focus.
Now I can moderate chat on my phone. Just in case we get any of those annoying spam bots that came in before. Alrighty. So we're going to run straight for this small wall here. Obviously we want to get over as fast as possible. As soon as we're over the wall and in the circle, we're going to pull out our bodyguard. Now the way these captures work is that for every orc captain we have in the circle, the capture is sped up. And for every orc captain they have in the circle, the capture is slowed down. The grunts will also slightly slow or slightly speed up the capture, however it's really not worth dealing much with them in the early game. We are going to use our AoE here, but that's mainly just to help us build some Elven Rage here, as we're going to need Elven Rage a little bit later in a couple of missions. But outside of that, we're essentially just waiting. Unfortunately, Bruce is having trouble breaking the wall today. Usually he breaks the wall and comes in and helps us capture. But he's not doing so today. So instead we're going to slam that down. Bruce is going to teleport inside the walls because
maybe I'll pick up a
reasons.
sword for myself. I could use a new toothpick.
We're going to summon our Caragor, and we're going to line up the Caragor Donk again. So we're going to climb this building up here. This is the fastest way around in this area. We're going to try to run over as many orcs as we can. I will read chat in a moment. I just need to focus here. And blow this barrel up. Blow this barrel up. He's enraged by burning. That's not great, but not the worst thing. I love fort battles. Feels like something fits so naturally into these games. Yeah, I agree. So we're going to Caragor Donk this guy out of existence, which is really, really great. He's dead. We're then going to build up our Caragor's might again by again running over orcs. Oops. We can also just attack orcs at this point since there's not many captains left. The problem with attacking orcs is it does leave us vulnerable to ranged orcs that throw their axes. And we'll end up donking this guy away. And he's down. Nice and easy. So, now we're going to hop off the Caragor. Oh no, we actually may as well stay on the Caragor at this point, really. Oh, never mind, it's dead. And our capture's up, so we're going to capture the fort, and then we're going to run to the end. And now, story-wise, it's going to get a little confusing here, because we're going to start jumping back and forth between storylines, but essentially, we know the orc that holds this fort. It's Ratbag from the first game, and we decide to let him keep the fort, so we don't actually give it to Bruce. Even though the game makes us choose a war chief for the fort, which is even weirder, we can't actually give the fort to Bruce. And that triggers something in his storyline later on, which ends up making him betray us. But essentially, we're going to capture this fort. We're gonna find out Ratbag's controlling it, not Ranger. Ratbag was actually the orc on the shoulder. of Ranger, the big O-log at the start. And we did not get the glitch today, so that's good. Occasionally you can get a glitch here where he just doesn't speak, and it's really weird and awkward and loses you 10 seconds.
In the days ahead, we will fight other battles and claim other fortresses. But starting today, Mordor belongs to you! Mordor belongs to the Bright Lord!
Alright. There is our fortress captured split, so we're only 2 minutes behind my PB. That's not too bad at this point. We are going to take this fort, and we're going to try to look for a defender to put in charge. Who do we have? Actually, Archer. You're in charge now. So, we're going to do something really interesting in a sec. First, we've just got to get over... Wow, that's a really pretty skyline today.
Now we have a foothold.
Alright, first we've just got to have a chat with Ratbag about the in-game cash shot which was removed, but the cutscene for it is still here. Essentially, Ratbag explains that we can go out and talk to the headhunter to get more recruits. And he also tells us about attacking and defending forts.
The thing is, you don't always need to be on the defense. You have scouts who can sniff out enemy forts, so you can go on the attack yourself. You know what they say, the best offense is a good offense.
And this is Ratbag for anyone who doesn't know. You won't see him much again,
new recruits, you
unfortunately, in the speedrun.
They call the headhunter. He'll sort you out. Oh, Shrock. I forgot to fill Ranger's feeding bowl before I left. He's gonna be cranky if I don't get back. I'm coming, Ranger!
Okay, so we get rid of that, and then we fast travel back to this Hadia. And now, this is also some new tech. This originally started out as a joke. A meme, but it actually proves to be much faster in most cases. So what we're going to do is we're going to pack up all of our men, except for one. Oops, not the garrison, not yet. We're actually going to pack up all of our soldiers, except for one. So we're going to put them in our inventory.
Norsko. Snafu.
And we're going to leave just one here, this guy. And we're actually going to give him a training order and tell him to have a Caragor. And he's still our bodyguard. And now we're going to summon him. Which is number 2.
Have your back.
We're going to get him off his Caragor. And we're actually going to shame him. Which kicks him out of the army and lowers his level. Now, when Bruce later in the game organises his rebellion, spoiler, Bruce has a rebellion against us. Oh, we also broke him. He's now a deranged mob. When Bruce has his rebellion, he will look for orcs that you've annoyed during the run. And essentially, that is an orc that we have really annoyed now. So there is a very good chance that he will come along to Bruce's fight. And Bruce's fight is indoors where we can't summon a Caragor. But captains who have a Caragor can bring it with them.
You're always bringing in tough orcs to fight.
Alright, and this is basically the final tutorial. We are finally out of the tutorial after this. This is the pit fights, and we have absolutely no control over this. Also, because the game realises that we have no captains left in the region, it's going to give us a captain here as well, so we get another captain for free. But we have no control over this fight. My hands are completely off. All I can do is control the mouse angle and make it look a bit interesting. What we hope for is our guy to win, and we hope he wins fast. This was extremely fast for a pit fight. That was actually really good.
See? Wasn't that a good time? Grog was drunk, laughs were had, blood was shed, and Grog was drunk. Ah, there's no fight like a pit fight.
Yes, you love how the cutscene says about microtransaction being no longer buy. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird one to leave in, but whatever. Okay, so now the world is essentially opening up to us and we can travel wherever we want. And we are immediately going to travel away. And the region is, we need to go do a mission to trigger Bruiser's next storyline. And we want to trigger that as soon as possible. because it works out better for positioning. So we're actually going to go do one of Kanan's missions. And we're actually going to go to the last zone in the game, Gorgoth. And this is mainly so things line up later in the game for other missions. But we're essentially going to travel to Gorgoth, do one mission, and then go do our first siege, which is actually a route change from the original route. That was Gannis's world record at the time. So Gannis, if you're still around, mate, there is a new route. But for now, we're going to grab our Karagor, and we're going to run over here. I need some Elven Rage. I do not have enough Elven Rage for the next step, as we're going to perform a pretty fun glitch. So we're just going to kill some orcs as we pass. There should be an explosive barrel just around this corner. There's that one there, but that one doesn't have any orcs around it. Oh, there's that one there. There is this one. No, this one up here. There is this one here. We can then go into the base here. We need a few more orcs still, unfortunately. One more orc should do it. Or one more. That Karagor should give us enough Elven Rage. Yep, that's enough. So, now we're going to head to Kanan's Bane. And we need Elven Rage because we're going to perform a huge glitch with it and skip an entire 2 phases of a fight. So, what we're going to do is we're going to get in Kanan's Bane. And we're actually going to level up here while I remember. Because I normally forget and then have to do it at the very last second. We're going to go into our character. We're going to grab Fatal Might, which I'll explain in a little bit what that does, but more importantly, Bird of Prey, which allows us to pull out our bow mid-air. And we're going to grab our Karagor, because you're nice and fast. And now, it is extremely important that the captain you can see off in the distance, he doesn't hit us. It is extremely important. Karagors. I was trying to sneak up on that guy, but unfortunately my Karagor decided it would be better to leap off the area. Now I only have a 4-shot bow, which actually really sucks for this, but I just... Oh, that's not great at all. I've already used 3 of those arrows on one. May have to do backup. Yeah, we're going to have to do backup strats, unfortunately, here. That's okay. Unless I get this in one. Did not get the headshot I needed. Alright, so we're going to just have to hope that this captain over here is weak to fire. He has a curse weapon which will remove our Elven Rage. He is not weak to fire. That is a real shame. So, he has a curse weapon which will actually make him... will remove our entire Elven Rage if he strikes us once. Now, Zog is also a semi-known, Goz is already a semi-known character, which means we know some of his traits, and in this case, we definitely know that he has Vault Breaker, so I can't go jumping over him and do the usual free strategies here. I also cannot use Karagor Donk on him, unfortunately, because if we kill him, it glitches out the upcoming game, the upcoming fight. So here I'm actually prioritising dodging over anything else, as we don't want Zog to hit us. Okay, cool. That's his closing line. He has to deliver this closing line for this to work.
I will wake all the dead of Mordor before we're done.
And we didn't get hit by him, which is really, really good. Which means we can perform our strategy.
Who do you think they'll come for?
Hi, Zog.
Oh yes, we'll meet again.
And we'll meet again. That's the last time we actually see him in the speedrun. Alright, one more to go. And in the pit we go. Excellent. This is going to be real fun. So, this is a really cool glitch. So, this is a Balrog versus Kanan. We currently don't have any arrows, so I'm just going to go pick up some. But essentially, we're meant to be useless. We're meant to just be distracting the Balrog while Kanan's blowing it up. But, if we time our Elven Rage perfectly here, so we wait for him to stand up, and go. you can see we're actually damaging the Balrog's HP. We shouldn't be able to do this, and in fact we're really not meant to be able to do this. And doing so has some really weird effects on the game. One of the effects is that we're actually going to get the Balrog to 0 HP before phase 1 is done, essentially the strike phase. So we still have to go through phase 1 like normal and pretend like we haven't just destroyed the Balrog's HP pool. And we're just rolling around waiting for him to expose his back. There he is there. One more should do it. His arm got in the way then, that's fine. Alright, so now we've gone through phase 1. Phase 2 is meant to be a chase sequence followed by this huge, long, epic fight while we're riding Karnan. Especially, we're meant to go in mono or mono with a Balrog while riding a Grog. But the game only waits till the Balrog is at a certain HP, and we've already got the Balrog below that HP trigger. So we're going to climb up here, and the Balrog is going to charge at us as soon as we get to the top, and then he's going to realise, oh wait, I'm dead, I need to move to the next phase. I'm already hurt, I need to move to the next phase. So we're going to throw him. This is meant to go on for about 2.5 minutes, this phase here, and that's the phase over. We're also meant to then now do a bunch of shots into his chest and try to rip him off from killing Karnan here, but because we got him so low HP, we can pull out our bow and we just donkey shot him, and he dies. And that's the end of the first Balrog phase. He now runs away because we're obviously too superior for him. And that's the whole, that's the entirety of Karnan's Bane. We obviously lost some time here because Zog was not playing ball. But it's a lot of fun. And yeah, I love this as well, Casimir. It's so much fun. And this is where the route change is actually going to come into play. So usually we used to go back to Bruce and finish his storyline, but we're actually going to come here to Kirith first. So this is our nice big route change. It's not actually that big, but it does make a huge difference in the game. So the reason we come here is because we want to be level 16. Currently we're only level 15. We really want to be level 16 before we continue Bruce's storyline. Now the ability I just grabbed is called Talon Strike, which allows us to essentially do that. We can now aim our bow and teleport a certain distance. And so we're going to do a bunch of interesting movement up here. Dash around the world. And also make use of an upward glitch. So terrain is only solid in this game at a certain distance from one angle. So we're able to actually target and go through the terrain essentially. Which is what I did just then. Now, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to make use of one of the guys we stored in our garrison before. We're actually storing these orcs for a specific purpose later on in the game. But for now, we're going to pull one out. We're going to pull this guy out. And we're going to say, hey, come into this zone, essentially. We're then going to go into our army menu, and we're going to go, hey, you're now my bodyguard. And like I explained before, our capture speed is dependent on how many orcs we have in the capture circle versus how many orcs they have. And so we're going to bring a bodyguard here just to speed up this entire process. But yes, Talon Strike is an incredibly good movement speed ability to dash around. Unfortunately, it is level locked, so we cannot get it before level 15. And yes, we are essentially a one-man army because we're going in here without any other orc captains, which the game even gives you a warning message saying, hey, this is not a good idea. Okay, cool. Good RNG. So bad RNG here would be a Beastmaster captain or an Olog who would be immune to the Karagor Donk. So that would be bad RNG, but we couldn't use.
In his prime.
The game awkwardly pants the tally in there because it expects his captains to say a bunch of smart things, but we don't have any captains, so it kind of just awkwardly pans through for a moment before going away. Alright. Now, unfortunately, I did forget a glitch, so we may actually have to fight some captains in here, but we have a glitch for this particular instance to usually not have to fight any captains in this zone at all. Alrighty. And here we're just going to build up some Elven Rage. Nothing too exciting about this. We're just slowly building it up. Alright. We're also going to capture this point. And we're going to shoot this nest, which will spawn in some Caragors into the world. Okay, so we got unlucky because I didn't perform the glitch. We got unlucky, and we do have captains here. Oopsies, that was a little too strong for that Caragor. Got it. Okay. This 4-shot bow is really annoying me, actually. I'm going to switch it out. It's a 7-shot though, that's much better. It's better to have more arrows in our quiver than to have more damage, so... Here we're just essentially just waiting to capture this point. And now we have to go fight these. I'm going to target the War Chief out of them first, which is the one with the crown. We're going to make sure we donk him first. We're going to try to get the other ones, but essentially he was the most important target there. No elf shot is really annoying for this part. In fact, I'm going to go get some. And again, we're just really just charging our might here, so we can donk these guys and kill them instantly. Also, performing the donk is fairly easy. Obviously, we need our might. We need to then run over a captain. And if we're able to knock them to the ground, okay, and they're not immune to beast attacks, then we can instantly perform the execute. And if they're in the falling animation while we do that, the game doesn't treat them as a... Oh, he killed it, that's okay. The game doesn't treat them as a captain, it treats them as a grunt, and that's why we're able to basically perform the glitch. Now, we don't actually need to kill this level 21 here. While he's in the circle, he is slowing our capture, but if he's not in the circle, okay, you can see he's outside the circle right now, he doesn't bother us. We've killed his War Chief associated with him, and we can go ahead and capture the circle now, and he will just give up. So we can just completely ignore him. Now we need to run to the end. Excuse me, everyone. Please get out of my way. I have to go fight your overlord. And essentially, we have to kill the war chiefs on each zone because once we capture all the points, the next objective becomes kill the war chiefs and all the war chiefs guarding the points. So we just kill them as we go to make things easier. For those also wondering, this game does look a lot better than what I'm currently displaying. I run this game with the lowest quality settings, which does mean that you do see some weird textures and some weird, like that lighting effect was very terrible. But this game can look so much better than it does currently. Alrighty. So, it is time to do this siege. These are usually meant to be the big fights, however, we're just going to obviously abuse the Caragor to make this an absolute joke. We need to build up our might. Now we have our might, we need to make sure we've got a straight line at him, run him over, and perform the donk. And there's the Caragor donk, and that is the entire Overlord fight. We're now going to give our speech to the crowd, and we've put up on some time, thankfully. Oh, and we got the no talk glitch. That's a real shame. Oh, my camera is also out of focus. Hi camera, I'm here. You're getting this game on PC soon, so you look forward to running the game on Ultra rather than console settings. I believe it's $10 at the moment on Steam. So now's a good time to grab it. But yeah, when you run it on Ultra, it does look very pretty. This is also a glitch that loses me 10 seconds. We have no idea why this happens. It's very rare. But yeah, nothing I can do about it. And essentially we're just waiting for Talion's scripts to kick in and tell him to put the flag down. And yeah, the Karagor Donk just looks ridiculous. I agree, Tripdam. It's just such a ridiculous ability. There's nothing else to say about it. Alright, we're going to put... If there's an O-log, we will always put an O-log in charge. That is because whoever's in charge of these forts, they cannot come to the final fight. And we don't want O-logs there because they tend to throw bombs a lot. Okay, oh, that did not work properly. Okay, so we've now leveled up to level 16. Now level 16 gives us this ability here, which I will explain in a moment, but for now I quickly need to do a very small amount of inventory management. Just equipping some new items. Okay, and we're now going to head to the best defense. So, that ability that we got, level 16, it gives us an ability called Beastful Rage, and what it does is it allows us to, instead of building might on our Karagor, we can instead use a percentage of its health to perform a might-based attack. And if we combine that with the Karagor Donk, we essentially have unlimited donks, because it won't take the health percentage when we kill a unit with a Beastful Rage. And since we're constantly killing captains with it, we've essentially got unlimited free donks as long as we do things right and don't encounter a orc who is immune to it. Our RNG's been really good so far, so I'm expecting in this mission to encounter one of the orcs that is actually immune to the Karagor Donk.
I'm going to make sure you lose your life and your fortress.
He is not
today.
immune, most likely.
Mordor
There is
will
always a
devour
very tiny chance that they have the trait, even though they're not from the class type that should normally have the trait. However, I'm going to go out on a limb and say he doesn't. And we're going to charge him down right now, and you're going to see how broken this ability is. So, instant donk, he's dead. And his legs do the whirlwind, which is amazing. I love the whirlwind. Alright. Ah, there we go. So he is actually immune. So when you hit someone who's immune to the Karagor Donk, they instead kill your Karagor. It is very frustrating, but there is nothing we can do about it. Outside of not obviously performing the Karagor Donk on him, but I couldn't tell from his gear at that range that he was. So their gear can be a giveaway to tell you whether or not they're immune. Oh, he's also immune. And it's the Beastmaster type you can see there. That usually carries the immunity. Not always. They usually can. Now here, we could actually... enraged by everything, that's not great. Here we could actually shame this guy and send him away, or we can't anymore because he's enraged. But we could actually shame him and send him away. We're not going to because there's a very good chance when you do that that they will show up in the final fight. And since he's a Beastmaster, we don't want him showing up. Alright, this guy... He could be vulnerable to the Karagor Donk, so we're actually going to go find a sack of meat hanging, which is there. Which should bring in some Karagors on the map. It does. So there's certain meat types that bring in Karagors. There's a bigger meat sack which brings in a Grog, and a smaller one which brings in Karagors. So that's what we're looking for. There are limited supply, so we don't have many of them in the fort. This one here, example, brings in a Grog. He looks fine. Yep, he's fine. We actually knocked him over then. So even though he's enraged here, we can actually still Karagor Donk him. So he's a Berserker. He does have some Beastmaster kind of clothing on, but thankfully he's not a Beastmaster. And his legs do the helicopter and he dies. I play on console because it's cheap, but now I'm getting money from my YouTube channel, so getting a gaming PC is both fun and necessary business expense. Well, congratulations, mate. I'm glad, absolutely glad you're doing it. I really do hope you enjoy this game because it is so much fun. Alright, no O-logs, which is great, because O-logs are naturally immune to the Caragor Don, because we don't have the power to knock them over with a Caragor. Caragor, go over the wall, please. Oh, he's... I noticed it too late. I pressed the execute button, but I noticed it too late. Oh, I saw it. That was my fault. I could have actually stopped that. And he's beast proof too. Wow, this guy is... As I said, we're most likely going to get bodied here, and we... He's already arrow proof, we know that. Alright, we're going to finish him off with the glaive. Finish him off with the glaive. Okay. And unfortunately, because they're so much higher level than us, we just don't have a lot of damage to it. And yeah, thankfully for me, I'm just in a position where I am able to upgrade my PC and play these kind of games. I know not everyone is in those kind of positions, and that's unfortunate, but I'm glad you're able to. We're actually going to grab a Caragor here again, because Caragors are neat. He's enraged by stealth. That's okay, we're leaving. Grab ourselves a Caragor. And again, we're just going to perform the donk here. If we can. There we go. So, final one's dead. We're going to move on. Unfortunately, this was a pretty rough split. Not the worst, but still relatively rough. Oh my golly gosh, Caragors just... Sometimes they get sticky to the weirdest surfaces. So we're going to climb this building up. Up! Oh my golly gosh, Caragor. Would you stop? Obviously this is faster than a Caragor, but requires resources to do it. So every dash that we do use uses an arrow shot, which is why I said before we want arrows. But Bruce is now going to betray us. We're going to lose the fort. And this is part of the Bruce storyline that we have to do. And then Bruce is going to be in charge now, and we're going to immediately go and get the fort back from him. So, to explain what I meant before about getting the world in a certain state, we have to complete missions up to a certain objective to the point where the world makes sense for the end game. So one of those conditions is getting the fort back from Bruce after he betrays you. Another condition is defeating the Balrog. The third condition is reuniting the humans, and the fourth condition is encountering Isildur with Idril. No, not Idril. That's the wrong one. What can I think of the name? Atariel. Accounting Isildur with Atariel. So once we get those states basically to the right, once we get those world states essentially correct, we're then able to progress to the final mission. So that's what we're doing. Yes, Atariel. Yeah, my brain just completely blanked on Atariel for a moment. Alright, we're going to run here. We're going to run this guy over. He's going to be beast immune again. Which is interesting. Pretty rare for that guy to actually be beast immune, but it is what it is. I'm going to free this guy. Since, again, we have no people in this zone, the game is automatically going to give us captains here. Saw the opportunity to go for a stealth attack on this guy, so I went for it. I'm actually going to also bring him to my side. She's got her own DLC. Yeah, I actually hold the world record for that DLC. The DLC itself sucks for a casual playthrough, but for a speedrun, I actually think it's better than the main game, and that is hugely controversial. I am literally the only runner who thinks that. But I think it's a really good speed version, especially 100%. I think 100% Any percent's trash, but I think 100% is a really good speed game of the Atari DLC. There is a very funny interaction we can do with Bruce here, with a glitch. Unfortunately, it is slower than regularly fighting him, so I won't be showing that, but it is extremely funny, and I do have some clips of that on my YouTube where you can actually kill Bruce during this mission where you're not meant to be able to, and it causes some very strange interactions.
Pull the arms off the range.
Alright, so now we hope that our Karagor man has spawned. There he is there. That's actually not the one we brought in, but that's fine. Another one came in instead. And now we have our Karagor. And now we can start fitting out Bruce's ranks. Oh. One of our guys is going to die in the frenzy. You can see why it's good for speedrunning, but yeah, it's not worth the money. No. I really need to learn Desolation as well, because I believe that has some really good speedrunning potential. It's actually, Desolation is probably the least researched out of the three categories, the three different like sort of games we can run. Oh, got the wrong guy. But yeah, Desolation does have some runs, but I really need to do some research into that eventually, because I think that could have some potential as well to be a lot of fun. Unfortunately, my guys are dying left, right, and center here, which is actually really bad for me. I need a certain amount of people in this area. But we're going to... no, I didn't want to do that game. Unfortunately, with this many orcs around, it is actually hard to tell the game which orc I want to target. I'm trying to look down at them, but as you can see, it's not always working. Oh, I really don't want to lose any more captains, but there's another one gone. Oh, this is really getting frustrating now, Bruce.
Put me back together.
Holy gosh, there we go. Got the final guy. Let's get off the Karagor and fight Bruce. Get off the... no, get off the Mount Talion. Oh.
My God's hurt.
I'm going to go into my character here. This is actually getting frustrating. We normally don't have this much issue with Bruise, but unfortunately we're just having bad RNG here. We're going to grab the glaive attack early. Normally I grab it after this split. This allows me to have an empowered glaive here.
It's a bugger, Ranger. Wasn't supposed to go.
Research for 100% run with all DLC. Oh, I am not doing 100% of the main game. I will not say never, because I may be one day inspired to pick it up, but for the most part, 100% for the main game is insane, and there's a reason only one record exists of it. It takes so much planning and consideration that we just don't have, well, I personally don't have the time for. There's one guy left in here somewhere. Alright, he's down. That was really bad. That was actually a really bad Bruise encounter. Unfortunately, I lost a bunch of orcs. I was not able to perform the Karagor donk nice and easily because targeting in those big clusters is very hard.
This fortress is once again under my...
On the plus side, we get to see the Baby Rage cutscene. So, this is my favourite little speech in the game because it is Baby Rage. For anyone who has a toddler or has spent a lot of time around a toddler, have you ever seen a toddler not get their own way? Watch their arms right here. This little arm shake that he does. It's exactly what my toddler does when he's angry. He just shakes his arms. Yeah, the current run is about 10 hours, I believe, and that was without DLC. Honestly, DLC would only add about 2.5 hours to that if we were doing 100%, 100%, 100%. Actually, 100% of the third DLC is kind of tricky because where do you draw the line? But that's a discussion for another day. But yeah, essentially, it wouldn't be that bad. It would just... it's just more time than I want to sit down for in front. Okay, we're going to go into our character again. We're going to grab an upgraded version of our Dire Caragor, and we're going to grab Critical Strike. Going to go into our inventory. I noticed we had a legendary. That's great. New bow, nothing there. New bow. I don't want a hammer. And new ring is actually kind of important here. So we're going to head over to Frozen Flame now. This is the third zone in the game that you're meant to do if you're doing them all in chronological order. But we come here as the last. Essentially, this is the last of the zones that we'll see. There is another zone, but it is DLC content, and we don't need to do it for the any %. Also, we're going to use the up warp tricks again here. So we're going to jump over here. Come here.
And their treasures.
Jump on this corner. Up warp to here. And then we're actually going to go into our inventory and change our skin again. And doing that will avoid a 2-minute really arduous climb and teleport us directly where we need to go. So we'll now take this Hadir as our own. Where am I? Oh my golly gosh, I've lost my cornering. There we are. And we will now dash into this, which is the final Kanan mission. So after this mission, we will essentially be far enough into Kanan's questline where the world makes sense at the end of the game.
A path of flame. Haste, haste, haste. It rages across land, scorches a path.
Targoroth will not be difficult to find.
He must be buried. He must be returned to the depths.
Okay. So, like always when we're running on a Caragor, our best ability is to keep it on the ground, keep it flat. We want to make sure that it's not hop skipping over little rocks like we need to. They don't have a sprint meter, so we can just run like this. Kind of wish they did have a sprint meter, that would be cool, but not going to happen.
It burns all.
Okay, so here is an auto-scroller. This is like really, in the casual gameplay, this is actually really intensive of an auto-scroller, but for speed running, we know exactly where these icicles are always going to be. They're always in the same spot, and Targaroth has no chance of catching up with us.
To burn your land.
Okay, my own experience with speedrunning is the North Korean Flash game with a dozen runs. Just wanted to be in the top 10 of the world before Flash died. That's a pretty cool goal. I like that. Well, speedrunning in general, it's pretty easy to get into these days. And that's the last one we need to get. Targaroth, we don't even need to get the last actual icicles because Targaroth won't catch us. But speedrunning itself is fairly accessible these days. So if you are interested in this, we have a ton of resources. I am, of course, always willing to help new people. And my controller's not plugged in. This is the one part of the game where I would normally use a controller. And I use a controller purely because it doesn't save me any time, but it guarantees that I don't lose time. Unfortunately, my controller is not plugged in, so I have to do this with keyboard and mouse controls, which is a little bit annoying for me, but that's okay. So essentially why controller saves me time here is that because I'm switching inputs between keyboard and mouse and controller during this, the game doesn't really know what to do, and it gives me control during these parts right here. So right now, if I was on keyboard and mouse, I would have control. I kind of have control, but it's not easy to aim with a keyboard and mouse and get my direction right. But it's a guaranteed way to get control during this cutscene. It seems to only work during this fight. No one's even bothered to investigate why, because it's not really a big thing. But yeah, it's this weird little thing where you can just gain control during the Balrog fight, which makes no sense. For anyone wondering why they can't hear my spacebar either, I've also bound that whole command chain to my scroll wheel just so I can get past that pond nice and quick. Okay, a little bit of Balrog RNG here. We would love him to shake right now. That's his shake, that's great. And now we want him to start doing his spin attack. That one there. Three, and the Balrog is dead. Nice and quick. I didn't pack up after damaged. I just realised that then. It's a pain. I'm going to have to go back to Nern at some point. I don't think the fight would be faster on foot with Elven Rage than it is with a Drake. It would be.
Some of our soldiers
We did try using Elven Rage there before you get the Drake, but unfortunately the Balrog is immune to it. So I believe Gannis tried that as soon as he found out the other Elven Rage glitch, but it does not work. It's really rude of that orc. Okay, freed that one.
Die of thirst, get stabbed by a drunk orc, but you'll never. You saved us, Ranger.
Okay, jump. Cut this guy free.
Thank you kindly, Ranger. I've given up.
Alrighty, next part of this mission. So this is part of the human chain here. We need to reunite the humans.
Have you managed to free?
So we're quickly going to go here. We're going to free this guy. We're going to use them as bodyguards. So they're actually, as long as they're on these poles, they're actually got collision, and we can use them to block axes that are thrown with us, that are trying to interfere with us. As soon as they're free, obviously, they no longer have collision like that, and they won't block, but it is useful to position ourselves in that way, so we're less likely to get interrupted while freeing these guys.
I thought we would die. My family thanks you, Ranger. These orcs will suffer.
Summon our Caragor here. This is our new upgraded Caragor. This is Steve, as my chat lovely calls him. The only difference between him and the other Caragor is he has twice as much HP, deals a bit more damage, so overall he is more useful. Again, we just donk a guy. Come up here. Free this guy here, and then we're going to go hopefully for the swag jump right here. Got the swag jump, so that saves about half a second and it looks really cool, hence why it's called the swag jump. Okay, off to the final human mission now. Hey, we've finally seen a Grog. I was wondering when we were going to get the Grog encounter window. Normally we get that much earlier in the run. And the game is going to introduce us to rare Caragors here, because apparently we've never seen rare Caragors, despite the fact we've ridden one. And there's a funny line delivered by this orc here, who thinks that we've killed his beast, even though we are effectively just riding his beast. So we're going to blow this up, set everyone on fire here, teleport over here. Do this, run over here. So essentially right now our objective is to defeat the Ologs, but as soon as we defeat all the Ologs, we're going to get a secondary objection up to actually defeat all the pit fighters. Oh, unfortunately that guy died, but that's okay. You saved us, Ranger, yeah. You saved us while teleporting away and not actually helping them with the fight. It is pretty funny, isn't it? And we're just fighting these guys up here, because it is quicker fighting them here than actually trying to wait for them to all jump down. Now we've got the objective to kill all the pit fighters. 19. So we're actually going to try to land on this guy's back and instantly terrify him. Which didn't work, unfortunately. Now, normally we would just Karagor donk this guy and get him out of the way. However, I am running pretty low on orcs. So I would like to actually, if possible, since he's low enough level, I would like to actually take this orc as mine. We do lose a little bit of time here, but it will hopefully save us a bit more time coming up.
I will serve you.
Alright.
She's a true warrior. She fears nothing anymore.
So, it's time for our second
That's the
siege.
problem.
We're going to climb here. Pop off our Karagor. Dash over here. A little bit too far, but that's okay. No, we don't actually want him as an attacking captain. What we want is we want to go into our army. And we want to go, hey, you're my bodyguard now. The difference between having him as an attacking captain and actually having him as a bodyguard is I can summon him inside the walls rather than him having to either get into the wall or die outside the walls. Good luck again, that's fine.
And his army of traitors. So you took Dars Gurum, and now you think you can take us? My boys will enjoy the
Army of Two,
feel
2008.
of your soft
Basically, yeah.
against their bodies.
It's a cool looking orc, by the way. I love the axe in the head. I think that's great.
After we repel your assault,
Like, I don't know why you wouldn't just remove it, but you know, it does look really cool.
As a reminder to any future intruders who think they're better than us.
That was a very long speech, unfortunately. Alright, so we are going to save our Karagor at the end to kill him with a Karagor donk, most likely. However, this siege goes on for long enough that we can actually summon our Karagor for the first wave. And what's going to happen is either we're going to take the first point with our Karagor and it's going to go for a nap, aka die, but we don't say die, we say they go for a nap. Oh, that's unfortunate that an Olag's really close here. So we need to kind of get an angle here that doesn't include that Olag. There we go, he's down. So again, we're going to try to get an angle where that Olag's not going to interfere with us. So the other problem with doing the donk is that Olags, the execution skill tries to actually target Olags because they have such a huge hitbox. The hitbox ends up being larger than the orc that got knocked down. And we end up having to basically attack the orc, the Olag, and not getting in the way. Not getting the way we want. That's not making a lot of sense. We end up getting pulled towards the Olag and end up trying to dunk them, which obviously doesn't work. Now again, because we're low on orcs and because this siege is so long, we're actually going to just take every orc we can at this point. So he's going to help speed. The time it took us to capture him is going to definitely already be wiped away by the time it takes us to capture this point quicker now that we have 2 orcs in here instead of 1. Alright, so 1 point down. And again, there's a Karagor nest around this corner. That'll bring Karagors here. And, oh, everyone's on Karagors. That's really awkward to try to get donks on people. So how about we set everyone on fire? shouldn't have donked that guy. I should have actually got off and taken him. He was low enough level. That was a mistake, but that's okay. Mainly, we just need to get this war chief down. Yeah, he's down. There's an Olag left and a guy who's capable of us taking, so we're not actually going to worry about fighting on our Karagor anymore. Oh. We're going to get our Olag back up ourselves. I don't know where that other Olag went. There was an Olag here. Enemy one, but he's gone. Alright. Take this one as well, and we're going to bring him to our side as well. So we're essentially just going to build an army while in the middle of this fort. So he was actually a unique orc. He was a orc that is called a one word, and essentially here he says one word, and so his one word there was determination. Our Karagor is still alive. It's doing strange stuff, but it's still alive. We're going to chase it down or not? Alright, we'll chase it down and we'll come away. We'll come at it from this angle. They'll never expect it. He's someone we want to take if possible. Unfortunately, as I said, Karagors like to climb, so they do prioritise climbing over anything else. Where's that nest? There's a nest here. There it is. I'll get that down. I need to make sure that we focus that war chief first. He's down. Cool. Now we're going to just fight the rest. Normally. Unfortunately, that's one of our guys down, but that is RNG in this game as well. I would like to get off my orc, not collect a thing. Then we're going to come here. We're going to try to bring this guy up. Unfortunately, they're not letting me do that, so we'll blow this up in front of them all. That should buy us enough time to get this one up. And it should also buy us enough time to get this one up. So again, we're just trying to weave as many abilities. It does look very chaotic, and trust me, it is chaotic at the moment, but we're essentially just trying to take as many orcs as we can here. And having my orcs up as well also means that they're a distraction, so they're less likely to interrupt me when I'm doing things like this and pulling on other orcs to our side. Okay. We're going to focus on this one next. And essentially we don't need to do this, all we need to do is capture this point, but unfortunately, because there's so many orcs here, it is slowing down the capture of this point. We'll grab this guy as well. And we still have another point after this one as well, which is why I stated that this siege is particularly a long one, but this guy is too high level for us to take, but we actually don't care. We're just going to plant a flag and move on now. We've got enough orcs here to actually cause us to let us move on. Tried to go for a stealth attack there. It did not work as expected, but that's okay. Want this guy's Karagor if possible, thank you. And we donk him down. I think there's one more. I know the Olag's level 20. I didn't catch the level of the other guy. He's 21 and terrified, so we're just going to let him go. And we're just going to work on this Olag as best we can. If we kill him, we kill him. If we don't, we don't, essentially. we've done everything we need to do here. We're just really just waiting for the catcher to come up. So we're not going to kill this O-log. We are probably going to end up capturing him here. We'll take him. And even though there's nothing left for this fort, we are actually taking him for a reason, not just for flash. So what we should be doing is we need to be building an inventory of orcs for the very last siege. Because the very last siege is extremely hard and we're going to be so under-leveled and under-geared compared to what the game expects us, it's going to be a very difficult fight. So we're going to build an army of orcs, and I will show you what we'll do with that army of orcs before the last siege begins. But for now, we have to deal with this war chief.
So much fun. I don't know where to start first. There are so many possibilities.
And Talion looks a bit messed up at the moment. If you're wondering why his facial features look a bit weird and his eyes are all glowy, we're actually using a different skin. When we did the last skin walk, we moved into a different skin, and this is essentially an undead version of Talion. And that is the best I can say about what this skin represents without spoiling anything in the chat for anyone who possibly hasn't played this game. Most people probably have if you're here watching a speedrun, but just in case you haven't, that is the best way I can put it without spoiling this game. Alright, so that's the siege done. We can move on. So, we have got Kanan to the point where she is satisfied, aka we killed the Balrog. We have got Bruce to the point where he is no longer holding the fort and we have taken it back off him. We've also reunited the humans, which means we only have one objective left, which is now to get Atariel to fight the Wraith Isildur, fight the Nazgul Isildur. And so we've got to do a bunch of chain missions to get her to that point. And we have one siege left, which is in Gorgoth, but because of the difficulty of that siege, we leave that right till the very end before the final mission. Losing a little bit of time here to the glitch again. This is actually, believe it or not, this is relatively good RNG so far. I mean, Saragost in my PB was amazing and we're only losing like 20 seconds here. That's really good RNG, believe it or not. Getting the no talking glitch is really annoying and bad RNG, but overall this run has been above par for RNG. I did actually forget a step here. So I actually have to go back to Nern, and now's a good time as any. But first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to spend my level up points. We're going to grab Ground Finisher, we're going to grab Brutal Aggression, we're going to grab the modifier for Brutal Aggression. I will explain what all these mean in a moment, and we're going to grab Mighty Shot. We're going to go into our inventory, and I believe we have a better damage shield, and we have a better damage bow, and I need the most amount of ring power possible. Okay, so what we're going to do here is we're going to pack up all of our orcs again and put them in our inventory. Like I mentioned before, we're doing this to make the very last siege easier on us, since it is such a huge difficulty spike as we're not going to be the right level for it. Okay, so that follower is active, so we can put him as a war chief, and then they normally become inactive, but apparently he's not playing today. But that's okay. What we can instead do is go, hey, you're now the new... Okay, apparently I can't reach that guy at all for some reason. Let's try again. Are you going to let me now? Nope. The game just doesn't want to let me have that guy. That's okay. We'll leave him here as a present. Alright, so now we quickly need to go back to Nern, even though we have done everything in Nern. Because I forgot a step here. So we're going to lose a little bit of time on this split, but it's fine. We need to do it. So we packed up all our Saragost orcs. I didn't actually remember to pack up our Nern orcs, so now we need to go back and do that. Normally we wouldn't visit Nern again, but this is a very quick pit stop. That would probably be why I didn't pack up most of these orcs. They're mainly dead. And I don't think I actually did Kirith Urn either, so I'm going to go back to Kirith for a second. Map region. We're going to go back to Kirith and just check that, because I actually think I forgot 2 steps here. I think I forgot to do Kirith and I forgot to do Nirn. Yes, because Nirn was so impressively bad, I didn't actually pack them up. That's alright. Here we are here. Yep. So, definitely missed a few guys here. Brilliant. These will all help in the end. Okay, now we can actually go on to the Atarial quest line. So, we're going to return to the first zone in the game. It has now been taken over and is now ruled by Nazgul, and it is no longer called Minas Ithil, it is now called Minas Morgul, and it has a impressively green aura around it. And that aura will actually kill any living being that comes into contact with it. So, Atarial's kind of quest lines are to try to figure out exactly how we're going to defeat the Nazgul, or how we're at least going to stalemate them. And we go from there with Atarial's quest lines. Alright, you're going to give me the jump, you're not. That's a pain, but okay, I got the wrong angle there. Okay, now I have 1 shot at this, so I'm going to concentrate very hard. We are essentially going to be jumping over a bunch of kill planes here, and I need to keep my Elven Rage. If I fail, I lose my Elven Rage, so I'm just going to be quiet for a minute or so, as we're going over a bunch of mission fail planes. Okay, so really good, really smooth. Essentially, this is meant to be an escort mission, and if you get too far away from Atari, you fail. But if we stick to that exact path, we can get here and trigger the next part of the cutscene early, which is why you can hear people talking over the top of each other. And I'm going to activate my Elven Rage now, and I'm going to try to go for the donk. I didn't get it. That's unfortunate, but that's okay. So this is the Sildan fight. This is actually the fight where we discovered the fact that we can do the high ground glitch. It was discovered by me by complete accident during this fight, and we figured out where the high ground glitch worked from there. Unfortunately, it is not consistent, as you can obviously tell. I haven't been able to get this at all. But however, it did lead to the discovery of the high ground, the version of the high ground glitch which does work on Orc Captains, which is extremely consistent. And if it wasn't for its pixel precise setup, we would use it a lot more in this run. Ah, bugger. Okay, Sildan is done for. That was a fairly good Sildan fight. Obviously we lost time because I forgot to pack up my soldiers in Nirn and in Kirith, but obviously still a relatively good time there considering losing only 40-ish seconds. 45, 50 seconds. There we go. Alright, we're going to go into our character screen for the final time and grab Shadow Strike. We're now going to continue on the Atarial quest line, and we're going to head back to Saragost. Unfortunately, we can't, there's no way to line this up to only visit Saragost once. We have to do this in two separate moves. So, this is another defense siege. And we're going to encounter, the first time we encounter Hammerhead. Here. Okay. So, I also picked up my final talent, which is Shadow Strike, which allows me to directly teleport to a target and attack them. I'm going to use it in this mission, and pretty much only this mission, but it is useful for not losing my rage and getting around fast. So, we've not actually seen ghouls before. These are ghouls. We're really not going to see them again.
This fought for the bright Lord. You will not.
Unfortunately, he interrupted me, but that's okay. We still managed to hit him with a double might. So you can see now we also have 2 might bars. We'll actually want to double fill that because it does more damage at double might. Even though we only use half of it, it actually does more damage when we use a double might attack. So that's why we're always going to try to fill it up to the double max and then attack with it. You can see here the use of Shadow Strike again. We're immediately going to dash to him. We're going to hit him with that, which should be enough to trigger him into phase 3. He should run away again. I normally get control during this cutscene. I did. Cool. I was able to walk up here. I'm going to pull out our bow once more, a little bit more to the right, and then we're going to Shadow Strike him again, and now it's just a straight fight. And that is a really solid Helm Hammerhead. In fact, I am very happy with that. That is one of the best I've ever done this split.
His wounds will slow him. What about yours?
I'm very happy with that. 100%. That was a really solid fight. In fact, that was the gold split, so that was the best I've ever done it. Alright, we got the glitch, unfortunately. We have to wait for our health to come back up from 0, and then we can fast travel. Cool. Yeah, it was a really strange, like, we had no idea it existed. People had seen the kind of glitch, but they kind of never put 2 and 2 together. But to see it actually happen on a Nazgul first was even rarer. And now this is one of the worst splits for me personally. I am notoriously bad with the bow because I have slightly shaky hands. And this split here involves very precise Drake headshots. So I'm going to go for a couple of body shots here because I'm not feeling confident at that point. We need to kill this Drake essentially before it lands. Thankfully, there's been strategies implemented where we use to headshot the other Drakes to death as well that are about to spawn, but thankfully new strats, meaning we don't have to anymore. I'm betting that the left Drake is going to attack first here. We're going to essentially Karagor dog the Drakes. Which also one-shots them. It's weird. Let's just not talk about it. We're then going to get off this, and then we're going to use the upwarp glitch. Yeah. Jumping off this point and bringing ourselves through this little hole, and then once more jumping off there, landing in here, and starting the Hammerhead fight. Alright, he's going to pull us to him, and then we're going to try to beat him with Elven Rage before the fight really is meant to start. One thing you may notice is that Nazguls are not immune to the slowdown that happens during Elven Rage. So we're actually going to use a half execute here, just to keep him stun locked until we can build full execute. And that is essentially what is happening, and if we did that right, there we go, he's broken, and we don't ever need to fight him properly again. And that went really surprisingly well as well. In fact, I think I saved a bunch of time there as well. If that fight does go out of control though, and you do lose him during the Elven Rage, it is a really annoying fight, so I'm glad that went well for this. Yep, another gold split. Wow, that's 2 golds in a row. Alright, so now we're going to head to Gorgoth, and we're going to do the final Atarial mission. In speedrunning we have an issue, in Hitman speedrunning we have an issue where some levels require a lot of fast, accurate shots, so M and K players have a massive advantage over the controller counterparts. Yeah, that's pretty much why we split console and keyboard mouse as well. Because there's just so much discrepancy between that. Also, load times are a thing. But yeah, that's mainly why. So we're going to do a couple of ground dashes here. This is actually faster than grabbing a Caragor and riding to this location, so we used to grab a Caragor and ride, but now we just do a bunch of ground dashes and a bunch of up warps. So we're going to up warp through this bit here. Up warp through here if it's going to let me. Thank you. That was nearly bad. And down to here. And let's do Grave Walkers. This one is actually pretty fun. I like this, and it has a cool little glitch in it that I'll hopefully get to show off. So we land here to trigger a Tariel. We could go further, but we just want to land there to actually trigger her walking. And then we stand here and wait for her.
Do not hesitate. The only mercy for
We
them
blow up
is
this fire. Now, these are undead, essentially, and undead in this game are extremely weak to fire. So we're going to be using that to our advantage a lot. And wait for this rifle to spawn. We spawn camp him as soon as he spawns. And our goal right now is to defeat these rights that are attacking us. And so we're going to run around. Because it's on easy, I can run up to that guy and just hit him like that. And he does not notice me till right at the end. We're then going to strike this guy with a Shadow Strike. Now there is a guy on our right, and we're actually going to leave him for now, because he's used in a glitch. So I'm going to tell Atara to kill this guy next, after she's done dealing with the one she's currently dealing with. We're going to then come here. And now, we told Atara to kill that one because we need her set up in a very specific position here. We need her to be far enough behind us that when we run up here and we tell her to kill this guy, we're going to grab these arrows and we're going to stand here. And as she kills him, there's meant to be a cutscene that spawns. But if we stand right here, the cutscene kind of glitches and Isildur just spawns. Why that happens? Don't know. I assume we're just too close to the spawn point and the cutscene just doesn't play, but it's a 30-second cutscene and we just skip it. Oh, I didn't skip that. My fault. Where are you going, Isildur? Okay, cool. That's phase 2. This is what we wanted. Now we just have to wait for him to bounce around a bunch, hit the shield, and everything's good. So again, ghosts are super weak to fire, and so we're just going to run over here for no reason at all. They're all going to come after us. And we are going to use the campfire to explode them all and set them all on fire. So run over here, do the same, set them over fire here, and then we're going to fight the boss ghost, which is Idril's father from the very start, who ended up being the traitor. But we saw none of that because we skipped the entire cutscenes and missed the storyline here. Okay, he's down. Wow, that couldn't have been that fast. Something had to be wrong, right?
More of Gondor's fallen.
No way have I saved like 3 minutes.
You and I will meet again.
Nearly 3 minutes over the last 3 splits. Wow.
That is true.
I'm actually really close to my PB here. Like, shockingly close.
He swells his rank.
Okay. So, let us head to the final siege. And all of those orcs that we have been saving this entire time. And all of those... Oh, I want to go this way. All of those orcs we've been saving up and putting in our inventory the entire time. Now is the time to use them. That was a really bad jump. Oh well. I only lost about 10 seconds with that jump. So, how the game works is that if you've got a section that is entirely full, like a region that is entirely full of orcs, when you deploy new orcs, the game will automatically kill an orc in that area to basically unfree that spot. And so what we're doing is we're essentially sending level 12s and 13 orcs on assassin missions, and they're killing orcs that have levels of up to 45 here. Like, these orcs are usually around 26 to 45. But they instantly kill them because we deploy them in this area. So that's essentially what we're abusing by deploying these orcs in this area. They're also going to come with us on the last siege. They're not really going to be that useful because they're going to die so quickly because they are so low level orcs. But we still will use them in case they do manage to get in the front door. Okay, so final thing we need to do here is we need to make ourselves a bodyguard. You're now a bodyguard. We need to do a quick final gear check here. No, don't care about dagger. Bow's fine. Cloak could be better. Chest definitely could be better. And ring is fine. Okay, cool. So, we are going to buy some siege upgrades here since we have leftover money. And we are just going to buy the best ones here. So we're going to buy Poison Siege Beast. We're going to buy a War Grog. And then we're going to get to this siege. Chances are these guys won't survive very long. Most of them probably won't even make it to the first checkpoint. But if they do, awesome. Pray for good RNG. This is the last bit of RNG we really need. Oh no. Alright, chances are that's PB dead. Unfortunately, chances are that's PB dead. I had a good chance of a PB actually here because my Gorgoth wasn't really that great, but the fact that he's a Olog, sorry, not an Olag, means that my PB might be dead.
Scream your battle cries. Soon, this battle will be over, but your screams will not end.
That's okay. We're still going to go for it, and we're still going to absolutely push. And even if we don't get a PB, we're going to get a really good time here. So I'll be very happy.
Focus on what we want. Their heads, their spines, the grisly bits in their joints. All of it ours for the butchering.
Dude loves himself some orc. So we're going to Shadow Strike up to here. And now we are going to... Oh, there's a dragon, so we're going to free the dragon. Going to summon our follower. Going to grab our Caragor, who immediately dies to the dragon fire because I summoned it in the wrong location. And we'll donk this guy straight away. He's dead. Donk him as well. And I think that's all of them for this area, actually. So we're already losing guys out the front. You can see there's already one bleeding out there. One actually made it in, outside of the guy that we brought in, who's dazed and not standing in the circle at all. The level 22 may also make it in. Sweet, that's really, really good, actually. Unfortunately, the enraged guy is just shooting our own guys. That's really bad. Is what it is. Alright, there's an Olog there, so I need to probably donk his allies first and then get him. As you can see, all of these orcs, by the way, they are way too high level for us to dominate. So you're very unlikely to get an orc domination in here. It can happen, but it's fairly unlikely. Alright, they're dealt with, so now we need to deal with this Olog, and unfortunately that means Steve needs to go for a bit of a nap. But that's okay. So he bled out, he never made it inside. I was never going to go back and rescue him because he never made it inside, so there was not much point. I will rescue this guy if I get the ability to. However, most likely I'm going to get interrupted. Okay, and this is an O-Log's opening line.
Position or two. I take them back. Then I take
Nice and quick one though. Focus mode. He's dead. That's a kill move, so he's down. And we're going to capture this spot, and we're going to move on. Time for point number C. Yeah, number C. That's good work there, brain. We're going to dash here, blow up this nest, climb this wall because they always tend to spawn above us here. Yep. Which they have here as well. Don't you do it. Okay. Thankfully I keep breaking with a couple of sword swings, that's great. There is an O-Log there, but surprisingly enough, he is actually low enough level for me to take if I can. I really need to get out of this cluster though of enemies. And I really need to get the War Chief away from the O-Log there. Cool, got him. There are actually two there that are capable of taking. Interesting. That's really rare if there is. Yeah, there is. There's two. Unfortunately, this O-Log's getting in the way. I'm going to get off this Caragor now. The O-Log got enraged. Damn. That's a bugger. I wanted to take this guy, but it looks like I might have triggered his Death Defying. Yep, that's his Death Defying. So while they're enraged, we cannot actually capture them, so we kind of need to just sit and wait for them. But we might be able to get him here. We did. Okay, cool. That's actually really good to get another one. It is extremely rare to actually get a recruit in here, so I'm very happy to get it. And I would be ecstatic if we got the second one here. The other thing I need to be careful of is most of the orcs in here, they can two-shot me at this point. The level 22s obviously can't, but the level 30 plus orcs, they can easily two-shot me at this point. So I actually need to be very careful of them. And as you can see, there is explosions going on. There is so much mess happening in this arena, but we're getting a little bit of luck here. Ah, he would not have been able to be donked anyway, as he is a Beastmaster most of the time. Okay, he's down. That's a kill animation from another orc. And the 19 just killed a 33, so he's going to level up a little bit. He should have leveled up. He did not, though. All good. We're going to move on to the second last capture point we need to capture. Fortunately, there's no real good nest around here. Fortunately, though, this guy's already been injured. I'm guessing by the siege attacks. So the siege weapons, like you can see there, tend to come and bounce in this area. And they can actually damage the orcs that are in here. Alright, so I'm going to take a risk here. And because this guy is level 34, he has a big shield, we're actually going to shame him away. Okay, cool. He'll be fine. He'll come back in the Sauron fight, but he's nothing to worry about. He can be donked later on. And things are going well. And you can see there how fast that capture went. We've got so many orcs in the circle. Okay, we're actually going to get this guy up. Unfortunately, the chances are my orcs won't make it over this final wall. There's either spikes on the wall, or there's going to be poison. Oh, there's no spikes. That's good. There may actually be a chance for my orcs to get over this wall now. Where are you? There you are there. Where are the Caragors spawning? They're spawning right here. Excellent. We picked him up. We donked him nicely. That's really, really good. Unfortunately, like I said, my orcs just can't make it through the gate. They get murdered here. If one of them could make it over here, that would be absolutely fantastic, but it's unlikely to happen. Oh my golly gosh, 2 of them actually made it. Well, nearly made it. This guy nearly made it, but we can get him up. Looks like PB's back on the menu, boys. There's actually a chance here for PB, even with an O-log. I'm going to have to get a really clean fight versus the O-log, and I'm going to have to go for the high ground. Right, we're going to go for the high ground in a legit run, because it's the only method I have here, because I need to save my Elven Rage. I cannot use my Elven Rage. So, let us pray to the high ground gods, because the high ground is one of the most pinpoint accurate insta-kill moves we have, and I have not shown it in this run because it is so incredibly finicky. I've gotten pretty good at it, but it is still very hard to do when there are a lot of orcs around.
Disgusting man filth. You insult the Dark Lord.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've been this close for a PB.
If you think that
But we're gonna have to go for the high ground. I'm on high ground. Work for me, baby. I'm actually getting a bit tense now. This is cool. Alright, let's do it. Let's do it. So, first step, I need some might. Just a small amount of might, not a huge amount. Just enough to do and execute. But bombs stop me. Next step, I need to get this guy out. Come on out. Come on out. That's it. Alright. Final step. We need to clear the steps a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm going to go for it for here. I got it. That's the high ground. He's death-defying, so we got to do it twice, not once. Oh, we got to do it twice. So he's a little bit too close for the high ground, so we're going to bring him back again. Come on. Don't pick up orcs and throw them at me. Run at me. Run at me. There you go, buddy. Alright. Got it. There's the high ground again. We got it. 2 times in a row.
Go ahead. Kill me and take this forge.
We have a real good chance at PB. I'm not kidding here. We have a real good chance at PB. That's 2 high grounds in a row, which is a near pixel perfect glitch that allows us to insta-kill. We're going to be like within a minute of my PB here. I'm sweating now. I'm actually sweating. Alright. Oh no. This animation takes an extra 15 seconds. That's an RNG. And we got the no speech glitch. Talion! Talion! Stop it. Come on, Talion. Give me this. Just stop going like this and actually continue. Come on. Come on. Come on, buddy. 1 split's left, so it's all up to Brightlord. Abysmal speech RNG. Yeah, abysmal speech RNG indeed. 3 out of 4 of the speeches broke. Sorry, 3 out of 5 of the speeches broke. God, we're within 6 seconds of my PB. That's insane. Alright, we're looking for an O-log here. There you are. You're in charge. Again, we throw O-logs so they don't throw bombs at us at the end. I'm probably going to start talking a lot. When I get nervous, I use talking to calm myself. So if anyone's wondering why the hell I'm talking like a jabbering idiot, it's my method of calming myself. So please excuse the excessive amount of talking that is coming out of my mouth over the next few minutes. So, we are at the final stage of the game. There is always an O-log that spawns straight away. We're going to immediately go here.
You've gone further than I expected.
Alright, that's the guy we branded. We know we can dunk him, so we need to just focus down the O-log here.
Now than when we met. Enough the Erdrex!
Yep, sure thing.
I think you've made the Dark Lord angry.
This is only the
Alright,
beginning.
start with fire. Hopefully get the O-log on fire. That should kill him. I'm gonna go ahead and say that's gonna kill him. If not, we can pummel an arrow into him. I'm gonna take a couple of risky strats here just to try to improve my likelihood. Yep, so he's dead. Alright, next we need to shoot the guy in the foot. Donk him, keep going. Let's go. This is really good so far. Alright, next step again. I'm out of arrows, so that's the last shot I can do in the left foot.
I don't know.
Okay, he's our level 7 guy. We ruined at the start of the game. He can just die. Nice and easy. We're going to go for the pinned guy next. Alright, turn around and finish the last orc, and then it's time to fight Isildur.
Hello. See? When you trifle with me. Trifle's a weird word, isn't it? It sounds like a flower
I love this orc.
or something.
Alright, cool. That went really well. We didn't get a single Beastmaster then. I got all the donks. We only got a couple of lines. All good. Steve's going to go for a quick power nap at this point.
You worry about your
And we're going to try to glitch out Isildur and hopefully one-shot him. I really hope we get this one-shot on Isildur.
This is the fate of kings and men.
It shall not be mine.
Right. Come here. No. Oh, I couldn't get him in a stun lock, unfortunately. That was bad. I still nearly one-shot him, though. I nearly one-shot him. I actually kind of got the glitch, but I didn't get it completely because I couldn't keep him in the stun lock. But he normally takes way less damage than that.
They get the job done in their own way.
Alright, Isildur's down. Let's keep going. Oh no! Got him. Isildur's down. Let's keep going. Alright, time for Nazgul Talion. Sorry guys, I normally say spoilers, but I'm a little bit jazzed at the moment, so I forgot about spoilers, but we're a Nazgul now. Let's keep going. Okay. I'm a bit pumped now. I'm a bit pumped. This could be really close to a PB. Obviously this is not world record pace, as world record finished about a minute ago, but I am still really excited about this possibly being PB. So we don't have to kill these Nazgul at all here. This is essentially me just building some Elven Rage for the Witch King fight. We're just kind of waiting at this point. Come on. Okay, capture, move on. So tell me guys, how was your day today? Distract me with something to not think about the fact that I'm very, very close to PB. How was everyone's day? What happened today? Your day's pretty good? I'm glad, I'm glad. Thanks, Casimir. Alright, and we're going to raise here, because that will give me more minions to help increase capture speed. Good, your NE2 computer ready to set up on PC case gear. Nice. Found this pretty good streamer who looks like he's about to get a PB. Oh, thanks. Thank you so much for reminding me. Well, I hope I get a PB, but even if I don't get a PB, this has still been a really cool run. Nothing is certain. Right, so we climb the wall here, and then we dash directly to the house in the far distance. And we run up here. In we go, around here, pull out our bow and dash to that guy. Alright, Elven Rage is now built up. So we're going to raise a bunch of guys and then we're going to start playing hopscotch here. So this is the only way we have to avoid the slowdown with the Nazgul attacks. And now that we have our Elven Rage, we're just going to play hopscotch. Normally I play it on the enemy orcs, but on my own orcs it's just as fine. Essentially there's no difference to rolling, it just looks cooler than rolling around. We don't want to fight the Nazgul, we just want to wait this out. Alright, we're going to get to the edge here. And we're going to do this. One more capture point, and then it's time for the Witch King. And if we can one-cycle the Witch King, we're in a very good position for a PB. Come on. Okay. Hopscotch again, while we're just waiting for this capture. Okay, capture's done. Let's keep going. We need to get the swag jump here because it saves around 30 seconds of running. Got the swag jump, got a good teleport with it too. Excellent. Alright, Witch King time. So we're immediately going to run up, hit him. He's going to start attacking us. There we go. We're just going to keep slogging him whenever we can and dodging his attacks until he gives us a stun opportunity, which is now. As soon as he's stunned, we're going to activate Elven Rage. We're going to get full might. We're going to hit him. Hit him. Ah, didn't get a one cycle, unfortunately. I was very, very close to a one cycle though. Okay, essentially a one cycle. We just had to watch the weird animation. Alright, final fight time. This has to go well. Alright, first things first. We're actually going to change the difficulty here back to brutal. That assists us by allowing us to stack might every 2 attacks instead of every 3 attacks. Okay, so we can see here 2 sword swings equals a full might bar now. Damn it, Sauron. Right, I'm going to go full focus mode, guys. I'm going to ignore chat, I'm sorry. But I am on full focus mode at this point. Alright, first section down. 2 more sections to go and he is dead. Time for Mecha Sauron. Everyone hates me calling him Mecha Sauron, but he's still Mecha Sauron because like, it looks like a mechanized version of Sauron, and I think it's funny to annoy all the Lord of the Rings fans.
Your time is...
Okay. I'm going to get very, very greedy here. I'm going to go for 2 swings on most occasions per cycle. Like here, I would normally only go for 1 swing, I went for 2. I'm going to go for 2 here as well. No, I can't because he did the stupid flip animation. As long as he doesn't do the flip animation, we can go for 2, otherwise we have to stick with 1 attack per cycle. And obviously that attack we have to dodge too. Don't glitch out, Sauron. Be good, boy. Fall down. Good. 1 cycle left to go. One phase left, guys. It's going to be close. It's going to be real close because this takes about 2 minutes. We're going to dunk on him here. He's going to disappear. Oh, that was really good. That was early as hell. Oh my god, it's a new PB. It's a new PB. It's absolutely a new PB. Time. Yes! Oh, that has taken so long to get sub 255. That's sub 255 RCA. Oh my god, and that's sub 240 with load remover. Whoa. That was and yes, Fidelity, you're first. Well done. Casimir, thank you very much for the nice. Trip DM, thank you. Wow. I really didn't think I was going to get a PB during some no reset runs, but that's incredible. I am so ecstatic. Oh, Fuzzy Bunny of Doom, thank you very much for the grats. Thanks again, Vividelity, man. Oh, that is just awesome. That just makes me feel so good. It was, and I got to go here and just look because we had a rough time at the start. We lost Trader's Gate. We lost nearly a minute there, and then our recruiting split was not great. And then Karnan's Bane, we were even 3 minutes behind at one step. Oh, but then we just 3-4 gold splits at the end, just wrecked it. That's awesome. I'm just going to make sure they split save. Wow. I'm very ecstatic. I'm a little bit jittery. Like, yeah, Casimir obviously bringing in the good luck. Definitely. Like always, I'm going to do my regular thing here of giving away a sub at the end of the thing, at the end of the event, just to say thank you. It's just going to a random person in the chat to say thank you for everyone who's
I add you to my army!
And looks like Hope of Pixel. Welcome to the Bright Lord Army. I really hope you enjoy your stay. I definitely on your first stream here too, Casimir. That's kind of funny. But I am definitely going to have to call it for tonight. My wife is working tomorrow and I'm on toddler duty. Well, it's not really toddler duty, he's my child after all. But we're going to have a fun day, but it probably means getting up early, so I am going to call the stream here. But thank you so much, everyone that turned out today. Casimir, welcome to your first stream. I hope it was good enough and entertaining for you, mate. There was a bunch of other new people. AJ2144 as well, and all my regulars. Thank you so much. Special shout outs to Trip DM because he is one of my biggest regulars now, and he is just an absolute legend. And thank you everyone else in the chat that I haven't mentioned. I will, now my chat's scrolling and I think Gannis blessed the run as well. Gannis hasn't been around for so long, and then he just showed up tonight and we got a PB, so amazing. Much love to everyone. I'm out. Bye for now.